Aluhu. El Shaddai Lehenu Ole Abotenu. Abiyama Yiska Wabiako. Atak Wados, Weshemeka Kwados, Badu Shemeka Olam Wae. Weshamru B'nai Israel El Shabbat La So El Shabbat Le Dolo Tam B'nai Olam. B'nai B'nai Israel Oti Lolam. Kisha Shekami Masa El Shaddai Wa Shemayim. When Hades Ubayom Mashbi Shabbat Wa Inat Fash. Baruch Shemeka, Baruch Yemineka, Baruch Torateka, Baruch Kedushateka, El Shaddai Melech, El Shaddai Malat, El Shaddai Imlok Lolam Wahe, Baruch Shem Kabod Makuto Lolam Wahe, Baruch Kabod Lohim Min Komo Melech El and Luhu Lolam Wahe. Let's go to Psalms chapter 92. Psalms chapter 92. It is a good thing to give thanks unto the Lord and to sing praise to thy name, O Most High, to show forth thy loving kindness in the morning and thy faithfulness every night. Upon the instrument of 10 strings, upon the psaltery, upon the harp with the solemn sound. For thou, Lord, hast made me glad through thy works. I will triumph in the works of thy hands. O Lord, how great are thy works, and thy thoughts are very deep. A brutish man knoweth not, not does a fool understand this. When the wicked springers of grass and all workers of iniquities do flourish, it is that they shall be destroyed forever. But thou, O Lord, art most high forevermore. For though thy enemies, O Lord, for though thy enemies shall perish, all the workers of iniquity shall be scattered. But my horn shall I exalt like the horn of a wild ox. I shall be anointed with fresh oil. Mine eye also shall see my desire on my enemies, and my ears shall hear my desire of the wicked that rise up against me. The righteous shall flourish like the palm tree. He shall grow like the cedar of Lebanon. Those that be planted in the house of the Lord shall flourish in the courts of our God. They shall still bring forth fruit in old age. They shall be fat and flourishing, to show that the Lord is upright. He is my rock. There is no righteousness in him. Alushimo, Aluhu, Lolam Wahe. First of all, I'd like to give all honor and praise to the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, the great, mighty, revered God, the Most High God, who bestows loving kindness, possesses all things, who remembers the pious deeds of the patriarchs, the Most High, slow of anger, great in kindness, forgiving iniquity and transgressions, but who by no means clear the guilty, visiting iniquities of fathers upon the children to the third and fourth generation. The Most High's work is perfect for all his ways of justice, a God of faithfulness and without iniquity, just and right is he. First of all, I'd like to give all honor and respect due to a head of Israel, my father, Chief Eliezer, to the chief men, princes, mother in Israel, brothers and sisters. I say unto you, the tongue of my forefathers, Shabbat Shalom. One thing I need to inform the people about. I need to inform the people that don't get it misconstrued that we are doing these days on the right days. The only day that we are doing correct is the Shabbat that comes up every 7th day. That's the only day we're doing correct, man. But and this is why you hear about Israelites trying to formulate and create a calendar. They're trying to get the days correct. But God is not going to allow us to get these days correct, because when we had these days, we defecated on God's days. We defecated on days like this. We defecated on the Feast of Unleavened Bread, on the new moons, on all the appointed times. And that's Moadai means the appointed times or appointed seasons. These are the appointed times of God. And when we had these days correct, we didn't want nothing to do with it. We threw it away. So now, the reason why I don't try to figure out no calendar, because God has dispersed us, God has scattered us, God has separated us, kicked us out the land, and gave us a calendar. We ain't gonna never get these days right. We're not gonna get it right. The Creator wants to see how fervent you are doing it the wrong way. You know that's how God deals. Before we get it correct, God wants to see how fervent
and how truthful you are with doing it the wrong way. You know how many years my father washed a chair because a woman sat in it in her menstruation? Because anything a woman sit on makes it unclean. So he took the chair and washed it through water, thinking that the water will clean the chair from the uncleanness. But then he did that for years and years and years. And because he was fervent in doing it wrong, God opened his eyes and showed him that there is no way to get a chair clean from a woman that sits in the chair in her menstruation. There is nowhere to get this chair clean if a man that has a running issue sits in that chair and makes it unclean. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe what everybody tell you. Because a lot of people tell us things and voice things, gives us our opinions about certain laws, but they cannot find it in the book. They can't find it in the book. So with that being said, we must read and do according to what we read. Because if we don't do it according to how we read it, then we are doing our own thing. We're never going to get these days correct. So, we begin counting. We're going to go into Leviticus 23 and Deuteronomy 16, and I'm going to show you in the book where God said and has commanded us to count. Okay? So before we start counting, before Shevuot, we had the Feast of Unleavened Bread. The Feast of Unleavened Bread. Kagmatzot. There will never be another Passover. There was only one Passover. And that was when the nation of Israel, the departure from Egypt. So when the nation of Israel left Egypt, right, the kneading troughs was bounded up. Okay? There was nowhere possible for them to knead that dough. So they're in a rush now. They're in a rush. They can't knead the dough. They have to bake the dough without kneading it. And the only way to make this dough leaven is by kneading the dough. Right. How do I know this? Where did I read this at? Hosea chapter 7 states that you knead the dough until it be leavened. This is how the dough becomes leavened. You knead it, and then you knead it, you knead it, you knead it, and in time, by you kneading it, it leavens. This is why I don't consume matzos. I don't go to the Jews and buy crackers. Those are crackers. If you really want to be truthful with yourself, those things that they sell in those boxes is not bread. It's crackers. And that dough is put in a vault and is kneaded for hours. Hours. They didn't add yeast to it. They didn't add baking soda to it. They didn't add nothing to it. All right? Now we can come up and formulate the idea of yeast particles in the air. I know all that. The yeast particles is in the air, and then when you knead it, it goes into the bread. Yeah, I know all that. But you don't think God knew that there was yeast particles? You know why yeast particles don't count? Because in the time of Saul, they don't comprehend. In the time of Saul, when Saul, consort of the witch of Endor, and he got this news. He got the news that him and his household and his sons is going to die the next day. Right? The witch of Endor he was fasting. The witch of Endor went to make bread. In the Hebrew, it states that she plucked the dough, which means she had the dough already prepared. The dough was already sitting there. She plucked the dough and baked unleavened bread. The word in the English, it states kneaded. When you look up the definition of kneaded in the Hebrew, it means to pluck or to tear, which means she had the dough. You can't tear flour. The dough was already made. So don't you think the yeast particles was in that dough? But God still said it was unleavened, which means the yeast particles in the air don't count. I don't want to hear nothing about yeast particles. Let's go by the book, for crying out loud. So let's go by what the book says, man, please. And if you don't want to go by the book, then stay that way. But stop telling people and causing people to fall into a stumbling block, into a way that's not accepted by God. That's not accepted by God. So after the Feast of Unleavened Bread, it says that in the first Leviticus 23, right? Verse 15. Is it 15? Okay, good. Verse 15, Torah. Right? Now we're going to back up a little bit. Let's go to 14, right? It says, and ye shall eat neither bread, nor parched corn, nor green ears, until the self same day that ye have brought an offering unto your God. The bread is lechem. Bread is lechem. It's not matzot. Bread is lechem, not matzot. So if you can't eat bread, that means you can't eat parched corn nor green ears until that offering goes up. So now we're going to figure out what is parched corn and what is green ears, right? Because brothers say, oh, it ain't got nothing to do with bread, so I can eat grains. There are certain grains that you shouldn't be eating. There are certain seeds that you shouldn't be eating because the grains and the seeds and the bread can't be eaten until after the offering went up. Okay? So the Hebrew word for parched corn is kwali. Kwali is parched grain or roasted grain. Carmel is what? Green ears. Carmel is green wheat or fresh grain. Okay? So I stay away from grains. This is why I don't eat rice. This is why I don't eat seeds or beans. This is why I don't eat corn. This is why I do these things. I can show you why I don't eat it. I can show you why I stay away from it. So after this now, until the same day that they have brought an offering unto your God, it shall be a statute forever throughout your generations and all your dwellings. And ye shall count unto you from the morrow after the Shabbat. Let me explain to you why it says that. Because according to how God had these days set up, the Feast of Unleavened Bread always came up on the Shabbat.
Like the way it did this year.
Like the way it did this year. And then after the morrow, after the Shabbat, you will count 7 Shabbats. Okay? Tomorrow after the Shabbat, from the day that you brought the sheaf of the wave offering, 7 Shabbats shall be complete. 7 Shabbats we have to count. Even on the morrow after the 7th Shabbat, shall ye number 50 days. So we're going to have to count every day until 50. Just like the Crown Prince said. If you don't know how to count, I hope you know how to count to 50. Because you got to count. And we was commanded to count 50 days. And ye shall offer a new meat offering unto the Lord. Right? So now we're going to skip that. And we're going to go to Deuteronomy 16 now. Okay? Let's go to Deuteronomy 16. 16 verse, yes. verse 9. 7 weeks shall thou number unto thee. What that sound like? That sound like we got to count. We got to count 7 weeks.
That's right.
Shall thou number unto thee. Begin to number the 7 weeks from such time as thou beginnest to put the sickle to the corn. And thou shalt keep the feast of weeks unto the Lord thy God with a tribute of freewill offering of thine hand, which thou shalt give unto the Lord thy God according as the Lord thy God has blessed thee. And thou shalt rejoice
before the Lord thy God, thou and thy son and thy daughter, and thy manservant, and thy maidservant, and the Levites that is within thy gates, and the stranger, and the fatherless, and the widow that are among you, in all places where the Lord thy God hath chosen to place his name there.
Now, these are one of the days that we have to go to Jerusalem.
Yeah.
We can't observe these days here.
That's right.
But you see how far we got from God.
That's right.
Why God has kicked us out the land, removed us from the land. Why God removed us? Because we refuse to hearken to his laws, commandments, and statutes. Before we went into the land, before we went into the land, God said, before I bring you in the land, he said, I'm going to go into an agreement with you. I'm going to go into covenant with you. We're going to go into an agreement. Ain't that something? Of people going into a deal or an agreement with God. See, God loves that. See, God put you through certain things to see your will. To test your will. To test you to see what's going to come out of this correction. Are you going to acknowledge your fault and become better with God? Are you going to acknowledge your fault and start making a covenant or agreement with God? That's what God is looking for. So go ahead, read.
And thou shalt remember that thou wast a bondman in Egypt.
Remember that you was a bondman in Egypt. You were slaves in Egypt.
And thou shalt observe and do these statutes. Thou shalt observe the Feast of Tabernacles 7 days.
Okay, cut that. So there it goes right there. There it goes. So we got to count. And every day that you missed, that you didn't count, it's iniquity because it says thou shalt.
Right.
He was commanded to count 50 days. Let's go to Deuteronomy 25. Deuteronomy chapter 25. We have to learn to let go of things that draws your heart away from complete trust in God. Let's go to Deuteronomy 25. We have to learn to let go of things that pulls us away from God. We cannot allow our emotions to get in the way between your choices. And we all found ourselves in these predicaments where we allow things to draw us away from the laws and the commandments of God because your love for God ain't there. We have not built our love and our trust in God by fulfilling the commandments and the statutes. So therefore, the love and the trust is going to be fickle. It's going to be weak. Let's read Deuteronomy chapter 25.
If there be controversy between men, and they come unto judgment.
What do you mean controversy? We have arguments. We have strife. We have differences because we're men. What makes you think we ain't going to have no differences?
Yes.
But when we have our differences, we always got to remember to have boundaries.
That's right. That's right.
We got to have boundaries between each other. There's a way I approach you, and there's a way you approach me. There's a way I act with you, and there's a way you should act with me. There's boundaries with that. That's why when certain things happen, you go to a person and say, man, you didn't have to move like that. Certain people are not good for judgment or for correction. Because when you go to correct, you go overboard where it's not necessary. So that's not your what's the word? That's not your department. That's why we have lanes. We all have certain lanes that we have to stick to. No, I don't want you handling this because you don't know how to handle this. Let this guy handle it. No, I don't want you handling this. Let this guy handle this.
Able man.
Okay? Go ahead, Tom Street.
If there be controversy between men and they come unto judgment.
So that means, wait a minute, the controversy and the arguments was able to be judged by officers. Which means the controversy and the argument was about law, was about the commandments of God. They didn't argue about things that couldn't be judged by God. Because those are called frivolous matters. Heinious and foolish matters. That's why when you hear certain arguments, you go up there, what? That's what you're arguing about? Man, leave me out of that, man. I'm not dealing with none of that foolishness. It's foolishness. The things we argue about today, it's foolishness. Go ahead.
If there be controversy between men, and they come unto judgment, the judges may judge them.
The judges may judge them.
Then they shall justify the righteous.
Then they shall justify the righteous.
And condemn the wicked.
Justify the righteous and condemn the wicked. Okay. How do you condemn the wicked? What does it mean to condemn the wicked? When you're condemning the wicked, you can't side with them. So how do I condemn the wicked? To condemn means to indicate. Right? What does it mean to indicate? To indicate means to point out or show the person where he or she went wrong at. Which means I cannot side with you. Brother, sister, cousin, I can't side with you. This is a commandment. God said, whenever there's a discrepancy or a problem, it's your job to point out the person's faults where he had violated according to law. But you know what happened now with the nation today, with the so-called nation today? This is my brother and I love him. And I will side with him against the truth. That's right. I will side with him against God. That's right. I can't side with you against God, whether you my brother or not. That's right. So it's my job to really sort out the matter, see who is wrong, and I got to show you where you're wrong at. And guess what? If you are truly just and truly an honorable man that desires and want to fear God, I will respect that. I will accept that and stand down and humble myself and not continue to be a ravenous wolf when you're dead wrong. But that's our problem. We got a problem. And we ain't fixing it. We ain't fixing it. Once you hear that you're wrong, humility's supposed to set in immediately. You don't see the ways and the customs of our fathers. Once they heard that they was wrong, they shut their mouth. Oh man, I have sinned. He said, I have sinned. King David heard what he did. He said, I have sinned. Lord have mercy, I violated. All the killing and the tough talk piped down because I already heard I was at fault. So now we can really discern and check out our ways. And we can really see how much work we need to do with ourselves. So now we got to ask ourselves, how do you get when you hear you're wrong? Do you become more angry and agitated? You got a lot of work to do with you, son. You got a lot of work to do with you, son. You got a lot of things that you need to let go of. You got a lot of things that need to cut out and eradicate away from you because you are not compared or like the men that God chose. See, we're trying to get chosen. Yeah, God chose us to a certain extent to show us the laws and the commandments and statutes to save ourselves from ourselves. Now, what are we going to do with this information? Are we going to apply it to ourselves? Or are we going to continue to move in our unyielding and stubborn ways before God and not change? So now, guess what happened now? You ain't chosen no more because God going to push you away. He going to push you away. I don't want nothing to do. You won't get rejected. I said, wait, we will get rejected by God. So when you're rejected by God, what makes you think your mindset's going to be like? How do you think your mindset is going to be being rejected by God? Tom, see where we at?
Verse 2.
So hold up, let me finish. To indicate means to point out or show the person where he or she went wrong at. To indicate strong disapproval of. So if you don't point out the faults, then you don't disapprove it.
You agree with it.
You agree with it. You agree with it. It's our job that when we see faults or see things that is wrong according to the laws of God, it's our job to indicate and show your disapproval according to what God said. And if I don't show my disapproval according to what God said, I gotta let you know. I must come to you. I can't say my mind and my business, just walk away and say, I ain't got nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with that. Then you agree with it.
What's up, sister? You still fighting with your mother?
Then you agree with it.
What's up, sister? You still fighting with your mother, sister?
Then you agree with it.
Don't play that. Teach, bro.
The other definition is human decency. Human decency is the ability to discern between what is right or wrong according to the laws of God. We must be able to discern between what is right and wrong according to what God said. Not what is right and wrong according to my mindset. Not what is right and wrong according to your mindset. Is it right or wrong according to what God said? And you guess what? That's the only thing that counts.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that counts. This is why one brother came and said, he said, man, don't you think that it's against the law to sell marijuana? I said, well, brother, won't you show me in the book where it says it's against the law to sell marijuana? But it's damaging the people. That's him. That's his choice to smoke and do all this foolishness. That's your choice. That's your choice. I don't read nowhere in the book where God said, thou shalt not sell marijuana.
Sin destroys blood and fat. Sin destroys.
You know what destroys us? Eating blood and fat. Balding your head and shaving your face. Profaning the Sabbath day. Celebrating and acknowledging heathenistic traditions. Celebrating. See, come on, man.
Yeah, that's what destroys us.
That's what destroys us.
That's right. No unity.
Tom Sheik.
And it shall be, if the wicked man be worthy to be beaten, that the judge shall cause him to lie down.
Now this man, he said, and it shall be, read that over.
And it shall be, if the wicked man be worthy to be beaten.
And this shall be, if the wicked man be worthy to be beaten. Right? That what?
That the judge shall cause him to lie down.
That the judge shall cause him to lie down. Now this is going to really show if this person is truly down with God. This is going to show if you're down. Okay? This is going to truly show. Go ahead, Tom Sheik.
That the judge shall cause him to lie down and to be beaten before his face, according to his fault, by a certain number. Verse 3. 40 stripes he may give him, and not exceed, lest if he should exceed, and beat him above these with many stripes.
Okay, go back to that verse. Read that over.
Verse 2. And it shall be, if the wicked man be worthy to be
beaten. If the
beaten,
wicked man be worthy to be beaten.
That the judge shall cause.
You see what makes you wicked? Huh? I said, you see, now we see what makes us wicked. So when I tell you you're wicked, don't argue and get angry.
Dang.
Wicked man violates the commandments of God.
That's it.
Plain and simple.
That's it.
Once we violate the commandments and the laws of God,
I'm wicked.
You're wicked.
If
If you continue to sin presumptuously, you're wicked. It's plain and simple. We have to put respect due where respect is due. And that's towards these laws, commandments, and statutes.
Right.
I cannot continue to forget not to put fringes on my jacket. You know why? Because when I look and check and I ain't got fringes on my jacket, guess what God said? You wicked. Forget about having your fringes on your component, on your garment, but why you don't have it on your jacket? Because according to the Hebrew, it states ketsuka. In the Hebrew, it says ketsuka means your covering. So whatever I cover myself with, I must put fringes on it. So I have my garment, I have fringes on this. I have my t-shirt, I have fringes on this. And if I have on a jacket, I must put I put fringes on that. And I put a slit on it. Why? Just to keep myself in the clear with God. Now, in the Hebrew, it states Tikelet. Petil, tikelet. Petil is a thread. Tikelet is a thread of blue. Tikelet is the darkest blue. This is why when you make your fringes, you put tikelet, which is the darkest blue. You don't use navy blue, sky blue, none of those blues. And we're not supposed to be wearing blue fringes. The only, okay, it says one cord blue. Petil tikelet is 8 cords. So when I continue to put on things and do things according to my own ways, I'm adding on and I'm wicked.
That's right.
We don't wear fringes on the boundaries.
That's right.
On the borders, I mean. Because Deuteronomy 22 states that we should wear our fringes confort. Al confort. Al is upon, confort is corners. Arba is four. For upon the four corners of your garments. So when you put on fringes, I continuously see Israelites with fringes on with no corners.
That's right.
I went to a camp and I seen a person with fringes on their sleeves. And nobody pulled the person to the side and said nothing.
No good. It's a joke.
It's a joke. Jeremiah was here. He would look at the people and say, man, Lord, God has mercy. He said, this is what the people has become. Look at this. The fear of the Lord is not in this place. I can determine and see who fear God by according to how you live.
That's right.
That's how you know if a person really, really fear God.
Say it again.
Look at his lifestyle and see the things that he do in his life that compares to what the laws and the commandments say. Yeah. Now you can look and say, nah, that guy got a little fear in him. Yeah, he got a little fear in him, man. Look how he living. Look at the sacrifice he's taking. Look at look how cautious he is with God.
That's right.
That he don't take chances with his life violating the laws and the commandments of God.
That's right.
We gotta be more cautious, man.
That's right.
We cannot continue to take chances.
That's right.
Maybe. If you ain't sure, stay away from it.
Say it
You know why? Because you're playing with your life.
Right.
I said you're playing with your life. Where we at?
Bottom of 2.
Go ahead.
To lie down and to be beaten before his face.
Now I tell you right there, the man down. Once you realize that you're wrong and it calls for some stripes, let me see you lay your butt down and get those stripes.
Yeah.
That's the man I respect.
Yeah.
Go ahead and punch him. Are you able to sit down and let him punch you back?
Yeah.
That's the man I respect. No, he ain't punching me. No, you ain't beating me. No.
Yeah.
But the judgments of God said that you got to get punched, that you got to get beat. Come on, man.
You gotta give him a man do that. You gotta give him respect.
That's right. Once you see a man that's able to lay down and receive those stripes, I respect that man.
Give him respect. Yeah.
Gotta respect that man. Got to. Go ahead.
According to his fault,
Uh-huh.
by a certain number.
According to his fault by a certain number, read.
Verse 3. 40 stripes he may give him, and not exceed,
Uh-huh.
lest if he should exceed and beat him above these with many stripes, then thy brother should
He said if you
violence
go
him.
over 40 stripes, he said, you're going to seem vile. He said, if you go over these 40 stripes, you're going to seem very vile. The Hebrew word for vile is niklet. It means base, mean-spirited, feeling or showing a cruel desire to cause pain or harm.
You said mean-spirited.
I said a cruel desire to cause pain or harm. And this is why you notice we didn't have Israel. All nations had it. But we had torture places where we tortured people.
Red block, no red blocks.
They didn't desire to torture and do it. The judgment was this, they did it, and it was over.
Right.
Go ahead, Tom Sheik.
No jail sentence.
Thou shalt
No,
not muzzle the ox when he turneth out the corn.
thou shalt not muzzle. You said thou shalt not what?
Muzzle the ox
Don't muzzle the ox
when he treadeth out the
when he
corn.
treads out the corn. Because the ox, when he's treading out the corn and he's working, he's eating. Okay? And God, by reading these laws, the Lord shows you and tells you whether you have a heart or not.
That's right.
Reading this book will show you and tell you if you have a heart or not. But you just got to be truthful with yourself and say, man, I ain't got no heart. I'm a cold-hearted person. Because everything here that God tells me not to do, I do.
That's right.
Everything here that I read here that God told me not to do, I do. You see how you can tell whether you got a heart?
That's right.
Whether you got a cold heart with God?
Yeah, that's right.
Just analyze your life
That's right.
and see the things that you do in your life.
That's right.
And then correlate it with the laws and the commandments of God. And you'll tell if you have a heart, man, I ain't got no heart.
That's right.
I'm a cold-hearted dude.
That's right.
Uh-huh.
If brethren dwell together,
If brethren dwell together,
and one of them die,
and one of them die,
and have no child,
the
wife of the dead shall not marry without unto a stranger.
The wife of the dead shall not marry without unto a stranger.
Her
Right?
husband,
Go ahead.
Her husband's brother shall go in unto her.
Her husband's brother shall go in unto her. Okay? Now, this is the same instance that happened with Tamar. Okay? Tamar, husband, had 3 brothers. Right? Onan, and Shelah. Okay? You had Onan, and Shelah. According to what I read, it states that was wicked in the eyes of God. And then, you see how close these people was? Once God spotted anything contrary or opposite, he got rid of you. Took you out. God killed them for being wicked. So, Tamar could not marry without. Onan had to go and marry her. But Onan knew that the seed was not his. So he spilled it on the ground and God killed them, which means what? You cannot do the laws and the commandments of God being selfish. Onan was selfish, and he knew that the seed was not going to be his. He knew the seed wasn't his. So therefore, he pulled out and spilled the seed on the ground. And when he did that, God killed them. When he did that, God killed them. So now, Shelah was supposed to go. Shelah is the next one in line. So Shelah now, he was too young. So Judah told his daughter-in-law, he said, remain at thy father's house till Shelah, my son, be grown. But she noticed 3 months, 4 months passed, some time passed, and she noticed that Shelah was grown. And her main objective was to raise up a seed in her dead husband's name. So she put on the attire, took off a widow garment, put on the attire of a harlot's attire, which means you can tell what a woman is by how she dressed, by what they dress. Virgins had a certain dress wear. Wives had a certain dress wear. Harlots had a certain dress wear. Widows had a certain dress wear. So the harlots back then wore veils to where you ain't seen their face. So even the harlots has a little amount of shame in them to where you go and lay with this woman. You didn't even know. Judah couldn't tell if it was Tamar, if it was his daughter-in-law. So after he did what he did, she left off. 3 months, she starts showing. Judah about to burn her. But I went into that to show you, to explain to you that if brothers live together and one brother is married and he don't have a son, according to the law, the next brother in line is supposed to go into his brother's wife and raise up seed for his dead brother and have a son. If your mentality is not towards God, you're going to frown at this. You're not going to be able to do this because you're going to look at it and say that's nasty. You're going to find something wrong. You know, according to law, when we read, we married our cousins. Ain't nothing wrong with marrying your cousin. If you have a heathenistic mindset, you're going to look at that and frown at that. You kept it in to certain tribes. We didn't marry outside. Go ahead. Tamshi.
And take her to him to wife, and perform the duty of a husband's brother unto her. Verse 6. And it shall be that the firstborn which he buried shall succeed in the name of his brother, which is dead, and his name be not put out of Israel.
Right.
And if the man like not to take his brother's
If
wife,
the man like not to take his brother's wife, read.
Then let his brother's wife go up to the gate unto the elders and say, my husband's brother refusing to raise up unto his brother in the name of Israel, he will not perform the duty.
You see that?
Shameful.
You went straight to the judges. You have to have somebody that's in charge when there is some type of unjustness going on. Oh, why you went and told him? Because I had to go. I'm not going to come to you. I got to go to the judges. Or I have to go to the ones that's in charge, that can handle and settle this matter according to what God said. There's nothing wrong with going to the head and explaining to the head the matter. Go ahead, read.
He will not perform the duty of my husband's brother. Then the elders of his city shall call him and speak unto him. And if he stand to it, say, I like not to take her, then shall his brother's wife come unto him in the presence of the elders. And loose his shoe. From off his foot. And spit in his face. He shall answer and say, so shall it be done unto the man. 9.
Go ahead.
So shall it be done unto that man that will not build up his brother's house. Verse 10. And his name shall be called in Israel,
the house of him that had his shoe loose.
When men strive together one with another, and the wife of the one draweth near for to deliver her husband.
So 2 men is fighting. 2 men is in battle. They're in war. They fighting, whatever. It said what? And the wife
of the one draweth near for to deliver her husband out of the hand of him that smited him. And put it forth her hand and taketh him by the secret.
So she went and grabbed him by the secrets to deliver her husband. Read.
Then thou shalt cut off her hand. Thine eyes shall not pity her.
You see the Lord for that?
Chop.
God said cut her hand off. If you grab a man by his secrets, God said cut his hand off. We have to learn to have pity for the things God has pity with. We got to learn to have mercy for the things that God has mercy for. Okay? See, this is our problem. We think we could be more merciful and more pitiful than God. Than God.
We think we are. That's right.
We don't have more mercy than God.
That's right.
God teach us what to have mercy for. Go ahead, read.
Thou shalt not have in thy bag diverse weights, a great and a small.
Read.
Thou shalt not have in thine house diverse measures, a great and a small.
So diverse weights, a great and a small, right? When you have a weight, see, we dealt with these weights because to weigh out flour, to weigh out certain things, 10 pounds, but a lot of unjustness started to go on. I was weighing the flour and I paid for 10 pounds, but the weight was only 5 pounds. Or sometimes we don't have no more weight. We had scales. And the scales, the product that where I'm getting is wet. It's water. A lot of water inside of the product. And I won't allow the product to dry out so I can get the correct weight. That's unjust. It's not right by God, man. Tom She. He said you can't even have in your house a diverse measures. So check your scales. Check your balances. If the scales and the balances is not working correctly, get it out your house. Because as long as I keep these unjust scales in my house, there's sin imputed upon me. There's iniquity imputed upon me. Read.
But thou shalt have a perfect and just weight.
A perfect and just weight.
A perfect and just measure.
A perfect and just measure shall thou have.
That thy days may be lengthened in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee.
Right.
Verse 16. For all that do such things and all that do unrighteously are an abomination.
For all that do such things and all that do unrighteously. So when I looked up the definition of unrighteously in the Hebrew, it says awel. Awel means injustice. Right? Injustice means an unjust act or occurrence. An unfair person When a person is unfair, he's unkind.
Okay.
Check it out.
Not gonna be
People
nice.
that's not fair are not kind.
Okay.
It goes hand in hand. You're not gonna be unfair and then kind. It don't go together. The two don't mix. And this is how you can tell whether you are kind or not. Are you just? Are you fair? A fair person is kind. An unjust or unfair person is not kind. An unfair or unjust person is inconsiderate or unreasonable. Unreasonable means that I can't even reason with you. I can't even talk to you. Right? An unkind person is cruel, hateful, insensitive, spiteful, and uncaring. Uncaring means no sympathy. No sympathy, feelings, or pity, or sorrow for someone else. Insensitive meaning feeling no concern for others or other people's feelings, which means I have to feel for you.
Right.
I have to feel for you.
Right.
Okay? An inconsiderate person has no regard for the rights or feelings of others. They talk about themselves much more than anything else and makes everything about them, even if someone is having a hard time. So now it comes a point in time when I have to say, you know what, enough about myself. Enough about talking about myself and glorifying me.
That's right.
Let somebody else have the floor.
Yeah.
Go ahead, read.
All that do such things and all that do unrighteously are an abomination.
All that do such things and all that do unrighteously is what?
Or an abomination.
An abomination unto God. So you mean to tell me once I do unrighteously before God, I am detestable in the eyes of God? God despises me? I am abominable? Tom sheet.
Remember what Amalek did unto thee by the way, when he came forth out of Egypt. How he met thee by the way, and smote the hindmost of thee, even all that were feeble behind thee, when thou wast faint and weary, and he feared not God.
Remember what Amalek did. Now Amalek is Esau's grandson. While the children of Israel was leaving Egypt, this guy was killing us from behind. But God never forgot that. This is why later on, go to 1 Samuel chapter 16 now. This is why later on in 1 Samuel chapter 15, God gave Saul a strict command. They're going to 1 Samuel chapter 16. God gave King Saul, a strict command. Right? The command was, he said, thus saith the Lord of hosts. He said, I remember that which Amalek. Go to chapter 16. I'm gonna read 15. He said, I remember what Amalek did to Israel. He said, I didn't forget what Amalek did to y'all, man. It was gruesome. And because God took these people to himself, he gonna remember everything that anybody did to his people, right? He said how he laid wait for him in the way when he came up out of Egypt. He said, now go and smite Amalek, utterly destroy all that they had, and spare them not, but slay both man and woman, infant and suckling, which means the baby's gotta die. I was watching a documentary with my father. He said, "What? You remember what he said? He said, what kind of God?
What kind of God would give an order like this?
Yeah, something like that. I was watching because he was reading and going through 1 Samuel chapter on the History Channel. And he's like, yo, what kind of God? Most I said, kill the babies, kill the suckling, kill the ox, the sheep, the camel, the ass, kill everything. Because at this point in time, everything is abominable. God don't want nothing back. Why? All because of what their father did. All because of what Amalek did. You see how God is visiting the sins of the fathers and it trickles down until God get ready for you? We don't need that for our kids. You don't need that for your kids. So it behooves you for us to walk upright before God, because you don't know, generations down the line, God will be dealing with your great, great, great son off the things of what the father did. You gotta be careful, man. God said, I will remember. I will remember. I will command the sins of the fathers upon the children. Upon the children. So God is going to visit our sins upon our kids. So when our kids start moving wacky, crazy, bugged out, now we got to look at, why is he moving this way? Where is this coming from?
Why is he glitching?
Why is he glitching? But David knew. God told David he's going to visit his sins on his house. And because of that, because of what King David did, this is what it started with Amnon. Where out of the blue, Amnon begins to desire his own sister. Then after that, he rapes her. So then after he done took it and raped her, he told her, he said, get out. You know what Tamar said? Listen what she said. She said, this what you doing now by kicking me out is worse than you going into me and taking it.
It's worse than the action.
Which means her mentality was, once you took it, that's it. I ain't going nowhere. You see the mentality of these women, man? Don't come and take my virtue, my virginity, and think you just gonna get rid of me. Now I'm here to stay. You ain't gonna do that to me. That was the woman's mentality. Oh, you don't want me? Forget you. I'll find me another man. No, that wasn't their mentality. And it's our job. It's the men's job. It's the woman's job to read this book and acquire the mentality of these godly men and women, because that's what's going to attract God towards you. When you can train yourself, because it's a training. You're not going to get it 100% right away, but in time you will get it accordingly by you working on yourself.
That's right.
This takes work and time. Right? So King Saul, he turned against God. He turned against the commandment of God, and he saved the best of the sheep. He saved this, he saved the fatlings, he saved the other. So when Samuel came, he said, if you did the commandment of God, then why hear all these sheep? I said, what am I doing hearing all these sheep, man?
All these sheep.
At that point in time, the Spirit of God has departed away from Saul, from King Saul. And the rest of the God, he rested upon King David the very same day that Samuel anointed him. He said, from that day forward, the Spirit of God rested upon King David, and it never left. But while the Spirit of God was resting on King David, guess what? He desired another man's wife, which means it shows that King David is mortal man.
Right.
I'm mortal man. You gonna tell me I can't look or desire, man? You're supposed to be godly, man. Shut up. You run that stuff in my face, man. I'm man. I'm a flesh. I'm flesh. Well, you go up there talking good, but that don't mean I ain't make my mind up. That don't mean I'm going astray. I'm mortal flesh. That's why God gave us these laws, commandments, and statutes. But you looking for a fault. You want to find a fault. You'll stay in your place.
That's right.
Stay in your place. You're looking for fault.
That's right.
King David was mortal man. That's what that shows. He was mortal man. But guess what? While he did that, guess what? The Spirit of God was still on him.
Still with him.
It never left. It never departed. And this is the point I'm trying to show you, where you can have the Spirit of God resting upon you and still mess up, still
That's
fall
why
off,
you gotta watch yourself.
still fall
That's
off.
why you gotta watch.
That's why you gotta watch yourself. That's why he was able to depict and say, man, I have sinned. Let's go. Let's read chapter 16. First
Samuel chapter 16. And the Lord said unto Samuel, how long wilt thou mourn for Saul?
Wow. He said, how long, Samuel?
It's over.
Why are you still crying for Saul?
It's over, man. It's a wrap.
Why? What are you doing still mourning for Saul? Go ahead. Because this one, hold up. You see, Samuel was a man that anything that grieved God grieved him. That's the type of man Samuel was. If God was grieved at it, Samuel was grieved at it. And that's why he cried. And he cried and he cried and he cried.
It hurt him.
Because it hurt him. So he mourned. God looked at him and he said, man, how long are you going to continue to mourn for Saul? Go ahead.
Seeing I have rejected him from reigning over Israel.
Seeing I have rejected him from reigning over Israel. So we have to be careful for who we cry for. You didn't cry when you profaned God.
That's right.
You didn't cry when he desecrated the name of God. But now, when certain things go down, you cry for him. He said, don't you see I have rejected him? Huh? The word for reject is ma'as. I have despised him. I have refused him. He's been denied. He's been rejected. Rejected means to refuse to accept or consider. To refuse to accept or consider. And this is what brought Cain. This is why Cain's countenance dropped. Because this man was able to perceive where God did not accept him. He didn't consider him because he sent up an offering. Abel sent up an offering. And he seen that God accepted Abel's offering and didn't accept his. And we're dealing with the same God. You got to realize that. Because how do we know whose offering was accepted? By reading and reading and reading and reading. When Solomon sent up had this offering set up, after Solomon finished saying his prayers, fire from heaven came down and sucked up the whole offering.
Exactly.
Now you know that God has accepted your offering and you was accepted. So when Cain and Abel sent the offering and prepared their offering, there was a reaction that happened with Abel. But there was no reaction with Cain. So at that very same time, Cain was angry. He was tight. He said, man, I'm tight. He said, because, man, you accept my brother, but you ain't accept me. God went to him. He said, if you do as well, I will accept you, man. Which means you ain't doing good. So therefore, because you're not doing good, I can't accept you. I can't consider you. So in order to get God to accept us, we must move in a way that is accepted by God. We have to move in the way that is accepted by God to be accepted by God.
That's right.
So that God can accept us.
Hand in hand.
When we don't move in the way that God has ordered,
He has not approved that. That's right.
Okay? He said, when you don't believe God, that also is a form of rejection.
Yes.
I said, when you don't believe God, that is a form of rejection. Okay? Rejection and affliction done by God to redirect his people back to God's will.
Okay.
Huh?
Okay.
I said rejection and affliction done by God to redirect his people back to him. This is why God chastises us. This is why God corrects us to bring us back in line so that we don't dibble off too far. One of the highest form of love is correction by God and man.
That's right.
That's the highest form of love.
Right.
So when God corrects you, God loves you.
That's love.
That's love. When your parents correct you,
That's
your
love.
parents love you.
People don't want
That's
that.
the love.
They hate that.
Because they see that the things that you're doing is going to bring death. So I got to correct them before
To redirect you back.
redirect you back in line. To despise means to regard as negligible. What is negligible? Negligible means unimportant. Show no attention to.
Left to itself.
Going to leave you to yourself. I said, God is going to leave you to yourself. You know how many Israelites is left to themselves?
That's right. Sadly.
Just look at how they live and the things that they do.
That's right.
And then correlate it with what the book says.
Right.
Now you can tell, well, God must have left that dude to himself.
That's
No,
right.
no punishment.
Because he continued to do things
And he don't
that's
get
not in the book.
He don't get
That's right.
punished.
And nothing happened to him.
That's right.
Nigga flourish.
Nothing happened to him.
Yeah,
That's
right.
right.
Yeah,
That's right. That's right. That's not good.
You got to think about those things, man.
That's right.
Top sheet.
Fill thine horn with oil.
Uh-oh. So now God is telling Samuel, he said, go fill your horn with oil.
And go. And go.
Uh-huh.
And I will send thee to Jesse the Bethlehem.
I will send you to Jesse, the Bethlehemite. Uh-huh.
For I have provided me a king among his sons.
Now hold up. You know what line Jesse is out of? His father
Obed.
was Obed.
Obed. Yeah.
Their mother was a Moabite.
Ruth. Right.
Ruth was a Moabite. Didn't God say to destroy Moab and Ammon?
Okay. Sure. Okay. Yeah.
It's keys, man.
That's deep.
So there was a righteous seed that came out of a righteous, godly woman, a Moabitess. This is why God saved these nations, because there's a saying, right? He said, damn, what's that saying? God make exceptions for those who make exceptions for his laws. That's the saying I was trying to find.
That's right.
What I'm about, Prince of
That's
Carver.
right.
God make exceptions for those that make exceptions for his laws.
That's right.
So once this person makes an exception to serve God, God don't care about where you're from.
Make you an exception.
God don't care about color.
Uriah the
Hey,
Hittite.
I could be pale white.
So
And once you had made your mind up to serve God, God has accepted you. This is why I don't understand why we keep calling this a black nation.
Yeah.
This ain't no black nation. This is a
It has
nation
nothing to do with being
for
black.
all people
It has nothing to do with being
that have
black.
made their mind up to serve God. Don't matter about your color. Don't matter about your complexion.
Stop being racist.
We need to stop being racist.
That's right.
Talking about I should have married a
Look
black
at Uriah the Hittite. Uriah the Hittite, the Hittites are Canaanites from out the land of Ham. Those nations should have been wiped out. But there was a faithful seed within that nation. Uriah the Hittite. He was so faithful that he delivered his own death letter.
That's right.
King David brought him down to his house, got him drunk. He said, go on down to your wife. That's the first instance. Once you get drunk, you already know what it is. It's time. I'm going to see my woman. But this man was so faithful. He got him drunk. He went and lied down at the threshold, at the door of King David. He said, I'm not going to lay with my wife and the nation of Israel is out in war.
He's into it.
I'm not doing
He
that.
slept by the door.
He slept at his door.
So he's going to bring himself.
Tom sheet.
And Samuel said, how can I go? If Saul will hear it, he will kill me.
Samuel
said,
you see that?
King is instead of
Look,
God.
you see that? Look. Check this out. Samuel
Order from God.
is the one that appointed King Saul. And I'm going to tell you like this, the level, Samuel was above King Saul.
yeah.
He had more level and more juice than God. His rank.
His rank was above.
But he still recognized
The status of the king.
His place.
He remained
Still,
in his
what
place.
did we
The
say?
status of the king.
It's the status of the king.
Still honored the
Right.
status of the king.
He still recognized the status
He
and the
remained
power
humble.
of the king, but in his greatness, he still kept a humble state and recognized that
I learned from that.
if I go do this, and this, King Saul will kill me.
He's still the
You
Lord.
see that?
That's deep.
You see the mind frame and the mentality
Humble.
that we need to be accepted by God. I don't care about how many chiefs and princes and kings you is,
Right.
but are you still able to consider?
That's right.
Are you still able to
That's right.
consider other people
Deep, deep,
in your high status?
deep, deep, deep.
I gotta consider your office.
That's right.
Still gotta consider your obligations also.
Tom Sheep.
And likewise. And Samuel said, "How can I go? If Saul hear it, he will kill me."
He said, man, if Saul here, he gonna kill me, man.
And the Lord said, "Take a heifer with thee, and say, I am come to sacrifice to the Lord. Call Jesse to the sacrifice, and I will show thee what thou shalt do."
He said, so now how can I go if Saul hear it? He will kill me. And the Lord said, take a heifer with thee, and say, I am come to sacrifice unto God. Go ahead, verse 3.
And call Jesse to the sacrifice,
Call
and I will
Jesse to
show
the
thee
sacrifice.
what thou shalt do.
So God told him, he said, listen,
Read what Samuel what he said. Like, you right.
don't tell him
He gonna
that
kill
you're going
Right.
to appoint or anoint someone to be king. He said, yeah, you're right. He is going to kill you.
He is, he
He's going to
is.
take you out.
Yes,
He
he
said,
is.
so therefore, go get a heifer and leave that part out.
Yeah.
Just say I'm going to sacrifice.
Yeah.
I'm going to do a sacrifice unto the Lord. That's it. But leave that part out. See, we gotta know what lying is.
God given perspective.
We gotta know what lying is.
That's
He
right.
ain't lied.
Teach. That's right.
He ain't lied. I just left that part out. It wasn't for you.
Just ain't tell you that
It
part.
wasn't for you to know.
Ain't for you, buddy.
This information, just like the time where Elisha sent Gehazi to meet the woman,
Woman, right?
the widow.
Right.
No, she wasn't the widow. What was her name?
Yes.
I forgot. No, she had a husband, remember?
Yeah.
So Gehazi
He
went
was
to go
old,
meet.
the husband was old.
Right. So she went to go meet him. Gehazi goes to the woman. The woman said, Gehazi says, all well. She said, all is well.
All is well.
All wasn't
Well, it
well.
wasn't. But I,
Ain't for you.
You gonna
It
call
ain't
her a
for you.
liar?
It ain't for you, brother.
Hey man, you all right, man? Everything good? Yeah, everything good, bro. Yeah.
I come to you.
But when I come to you and I speak to you, you
You
can't
know.
tell me I lied because God,
ain't
yo,
for you.
the book they specify that you lied,
You don't
that
need
these
this.
people
You
lied.
don't need to hear this information.
Exactly. Tom sheet. Wisdom is the principal thing. Tom sheet.
And Samuel did that which the Lord spake. And came to
Samuel did that
Bethlehem.
which the Lord spake.
And came to
And
Bethlehem.
came to
And the
Bethlehem.
elders of the town trembled at his coming. They said, "Comest thou peaceably?"
He said, are you here peaceably, man? Is there peace, my brother?
Drama when they pull up.
Go ahead.
He said, "Peaceably, I am come to sacrifice unto the Lord. Sanctify yourselves and come with me to sacrifice."
He said,
And
sanctify
sanctify.
yourselves. That every time it says sanctify yourself, it never showed or said what they did to
How?
sanctify
How?
or how to sanctify. That's deep, man.
That's an immediate
Because
act.
dudes will be doing that.
That's an immediate act.
To sanctify, that's an immediate act. Once you do whatever they did to
To
sanctify,
sanctify.
you sanctify.
You're able now. Yeah.
There are certain
That's why
things
it's
that
like
God
this.
withheld and kept away from us, man. We don't have that knowledge. We don't got that knowledge no more. You know what that is?
Right. So sanctify
To have
yourself
the
and
knowledge
be-
of how to sanctify yourself.
be holy. That's something.
Man, listen. Read.
And he sanctified Jesse and his sons and called them to the sacrifice.
Uh-huh.
And it came to pass when they would come that he looked on
So
Gilead.
before they did the sacrifice, they had to sanctify themselves.
Right.
For years and years behind, we had camps that did sacrifices.
You out here with these animals.
They did sacrifices.
Nobody, you ain't went to the
They
first
did.
part.
They did weigh bread. They
Way to
did.
go.
They did weigh bread. You know what kind of bread they had? Wonder bread, Pelargonian bread, brick oven. All the bread that they had was store-bought bread,
Man bread.
and they took the bread and put it in the sheet And they talk about they're going to wave it before God. And then after they waved it before God, they took the same bread and put peanut butter and jelly on it. They ate the bread with P&J. They're fools. How you going to... There's a certain measurement that come with waving bread. Let's read.
It came to pass when they would come that he looked on Eliab and said, surely the Lord's anointed is before thee.
Surely the Lord's anointed is before thee. Okay, now, let's get into that word anointed. Okay? Because we read that word, and the Christians like to come to this passage because it said anointed. You see, JC is in the Old Testament. When it speaks about the anointed, who do you think is the anointed? It's talking about JC. No. Jesus. It ain't talking about the man on the cross.
It ain't talking about Jesus.
Okay? The word anointed is Mashiach. Mashiach means chosen one. Elected or chosen by God, not anointed. Go ahead, read.
And it came to pass when they would come that he looked on Eliab and said, surely the Lord's anointed is before him. But the Lord said unto Samuel,
look what God told him.
Look not on his countenance or on the height of his stature.
Don't look at his countenance. Don't look at the height of his stature.
Because I have refused him.
Because I have refused him. I have rejected him. Read.
For the Lord seeth not as man seeth.
What I look for, you can't see. I said, God said, what I look for, man can't see. Go ahead, read. So basically, I don't know your heart. I don't know what you have in your heart. And you don't know my heart. I only know what you show me. You only know what's being shown according to your actions, your ways. Go ahead.
For man looketh on the outward appearance, but the Lord looketh on the heart.
Outward appearance, la eyinaim. It means physical appearance. The physical, the outer appearance, right? He said, but God tries what?
But the Lord looketh on the heart.
Okay. The word for the heart is lebab, leb, right? It also means your mind, how you think. It checks you out to see how you think. So when God tries your heart, that's deep, man. Yo, man, I said, that's deep. God, when God tries your heart, he checks you to see how you think. If your thinking pattern correlates with how God moves. That's right. This is why forward thoughts will separate you from God. Okay? Your own thoughts will separate you from God. All right? So now, the other definition, it means your inner self.
Me, my inner self, my thoughts. That's right.
Your inner self is your thoughts. Your inner self is your subconscious thoughts. So your inner thoughts, your inner self is your subconscious thoughts and memories you hold on to, emotions and other aspects of your mind that makes up who you are as a person. The subconscious thoughts.
That's deep in you.
That's deep.
But you're not even thinking about it.
You're not even thinking about it, but
it's still there.
It's still there. It's still there.
It's just subconscious.
You know I have to let it go, but it's still there. This is why I remember my pop say, he said, man, I like it. And I know God is against it, but deep down inside, it's still there. I still like it. See, this is when we are truthful with ourselves.
That's right.
These things that we have in us that needs to be removed, it will never be removed if we are not truly truthful with ourselves.
That's right. Teach.
Okay? The inner self is the part of us that we are not always aware of.
You are not aware of. You're not even thinking.
You really know even. You know what that means? You don't know you.
It's there.
You don't even know yourself.
You're not aware of your
God know you better than you know you.
Exactly.
That's why God said, don't do this.
That's why.
Don't do the other.
That's why.
Look, God said, don't take a bribe. Oh, I'm going to take a bribe and I'll still judge. So you think you're smarter than God.
That's right. It's gonna corrupt you. You're going to corrupt yourself.
I said, you think you're smarter than God.
Now you want to do this.
God said, don't take the bribe because by you taking that bribe, it's going to blind the eyes of the wise.
That's right.
And corrupt your words.
That's right. You changed it.
You said, no, not me, God.
That ain't
Not
gonna
me,
happen to
not me. That ain't going to happen to me. I'll take the bribe and still judge. Now you're smarter than God now.
You think you're so-
Now you want to go against what God said.
Don't you-
God said, don't take the bribe.
Told him no tributary.
The bribe was a gift. Because deep down inside, in the scrotum,
You're gonna start feeling
you're going to feel the way that I have to condemn
affinity
you.
to this.
God said that.
Deep down in the scrotum.
That's the words of my Father.
Deep down.
Always aware of. He said, or have control over. This includes, let me go back. The inner self is the part of us that we are not always aware of or have control over. Right? This includes your values,
What you
beliefs,
believe in?
and your characteristics.
What you think is right and wrong?
What you think is right is wrong.
Uh-huh.
According to how you feel.
Mm-hmm.
Not according to how God feels. According to how you
That's
feel.
what you look at.
Okay.
And this is what God is searching.
Okay.
God look for these things,
Okay.
man.
Okay.
To see if you really can agree with God. This guy got certain things in him that this guy don't got in him. This guy got certain things in him that this guy don't have in him. And this is how God deals with us.
That's right.
According to our inner self. How we think.
Hey.
That's deep, man. And I ain't really realized that. We said, man, God tries the heart. He tries the way your mind, he tries your mindset.
Your mindset.
You know what that is, man? You know what? Things
Thinking about
things that is contrary to what God said comes to our mind
On a daily basis.
on a daily basis.
All day long.
And God tries us, improves us according to
According to
those
that.
thoughts.
We ain't even do it.
I didn't even do it.
That's the
I got a lot. That's why I said I'm working on that.
I didn't even violate
I'm
it.
working on that ASAP.
It came to my mind to steal, but I didn't steal. I had to correct it and say, nah, let me put it back. But God tries us according to those things. And because of these ideas and these thoughts that comes to our mind is what caused God to separate.
That's right.
The self resides in our subconscious mind. Your inner self is also connected to our emotions.
Right.
He said, let the
I said, your inner self is connected to your
You're gonna
emotions.
act it out. You're gonna feel for those thoughts.
So
You have a
when
feeling.
these thoughts come to our mind, this is what you get emotional about.
You cater to those thoughts.
That's when you begin to cater to those abominable thoughts that comes to your mind.
That's what
You start feeling the way. You can't feel the way for the things that God don't feel the way for.
Yeah.
Tom Sheep.
and he said, let the words of our mouth and the meditation of our heart be acceptable.
Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable before thee. O Lord, my rock, my redeemer. These are prayers that we need to say every day. If God is trying us by our thoughts, those are prayers we need to ask God.
Keep your thoughts clear.
Keep my thoughts clear. Because if I continue to move and think this way, God is going to try me according to these abominable thoughts.
That's right.
When you disagree with God, when you disagree with his laws, God tries you because guess what? It came here first. Sisters,
It's a symbol of the heart.
don't disassemble and disagree with the
Don't sit there
law.
and refuse.
God accept it. Train yourself to accept it, sisters.
Right. That's right.
Men, God accept it. Train yourself to accept it, men.
Cut that feeling.
Because we all got certain laws that we don't accept.
Feel the way about.
We all have certain laws that we feel the way about. I'm not going to pinpoint and indicate and point you out and point you out. Everybody got laws that we don't accept, that we feel the way about. So we all have work to do. Tom Sheep.
Because I have refused him.
He said, I have refused him.
For the Lord seeth not as a man seeth. For man looketh on the outward appearance.
Man look on the outward appearance,
But the Lord looketh on the heart.
But the Lord looketh on the heart. Tom Sheep.
Verse 8. First Samuel chapter 16, verse 8.
Tom Sheep.
Then Jesse called Abinadab and made him pass before Samuel. And he said, neither had the Lord chosen this. Then Jesse made Shammah to pass by. And he said, neither had the Lord chosen this. Again, Jesse made 7 of his sons to pass before Samuel. And Samuel said unto Jesse, the Lord had not chosen these. And Samuel said unto Jesse, are here all thy children?
Have you any more sons?
And he said, all your sons?
Have you any more sons?
Nobody even thought or even think to call the youngest son who had the better heart than all his brothers.
But they in the army, so the average person will go to them.
That's what
They in the army.
That's what happened.
King David had a better heart than every last one of his brothers. I don't know if I got a better heart than you, and you don't know if you got a better heart than me. Only God knows that.
That's right.
I said, only God knows who has the better heart or who have the heart in this room.
That's right.
That's real.
God knows that.
That's right.
All we need to do is fulfill, take heed to those laws.
That's right.
Do these commandments. Stay on track with what God commanded us to stay on track with. That's all I need to keep my mind on.
That's right.
Is that.
For myself.
Stop worrying about who's better than who.
For myself.
And this one, I do more than this one, and you do more than this one. That none of that.
No distractions.
Stay on yourself. Bro.
Just stay on yourself. When you see wrong, correct them, rebuke it, get back on yourself. Oh, I do this one, this one, this. Oh, what are you, don't worry about none of that.
I got you.
Don't worry about none of that. Tom Sheep.
And Samuel said unto Jesse, are here all thy children? And he said, there remaineth yet the youngest.
He said, there remaineth yet the youngest one.
And behold, he keepeth the
He's
sheep.
keeping the sheep. Wait a minute. You ain't found the eldest keeping the sheep.
No.
What is the eldest doing? Keeping the sheep. He's the eldest.
Yes, sir.
And this was the order.
Yeah.
The youngest son took care of everything of his father. It's his turn. You're the youngest son. You got to do it. And he ain't complaining. He ain't complaining that I'm always doing it. I'm tired. It's a burden. It's never a burden because they look forward and they look to it. It's an honor to take care of everything that the father or the mother needs to take care of. Oh, mommy, you need to go food shopping? Oh, you know what? I got free time. Let me come take you to food shopping. Oh, you need clothes washed? Oh, let me come and take you to do your clothes. And you ain't complain if you are the one that's always being called to take her shopping or to go here or to fulfill a duty that your parents need to be fulfilled. You should be honored and privileged to do these things because that's where your blessings come from.
That's
Talking about blessings, that's where your blessings come from. You know what the blessings is? When your parents speak good about you. That's it. All your father and your mother got to do is speak good about you. Pat you on your head and speak good about you. That sticks. Those are the things that stick to you, and it saves you. Tom Sheep. You know what that is? For when you know what that is? Because now I can speak on it. Because I have children. When you walk up, you wake up, and you see your son and your daughter, and deep down inside, you're glad, you're happy, and you smile. You smile within them. You know what that is? Remember when Aaron and Moses met?
Yeah.
Moses said, yo, God told Moses, say, yo, I got a mouthpiece for you, Aaron. He said, listen, he's coming to meet you right now. And he's going to be glad in his heart that he's seen you.
So glad.
Huh?
That's the joy.
That's the love. That's the height of love that's supposed to be between brethren.
That's right.
Am I glad in my heart when I see you? Or do I frown and say, well, bro. We got work to do, man. When you see yourself that way, I said, nah, I can't be that way. I gotta be like Aaron.
You gotta fight all of that.
I said, I gotta be like Aaron and be happy in my heart when I see my own.
That's right. Like when you met him. That's right. You say
I saw,
you
see,
jumped on it.
my father gave us, we had different last names. So when I went up north, I was able to see one of my other brothers. So when I found it, I got to a spot. I look, my other brother called me. I look, I'm like, oh, I seen him. I ran to him, he ran to me, and I hugged him. Because we ain't seen each other for years, like a year, 2 years. So now we're in the whole joint together. But that's the love that God is looking for. That's the unity.
In your heart, he was happy.
In your heart. That's right. Where we at?
And Samuel said to Jesse, send and fetch him, but we will not sit down till he come here.
Uh-oh. He said, go get him. He said, we ain't going to sit down until this guy come back here. Tom Sheep.
And he sent and brought him in.
Uh-huh.
Now he was ruddy, and withal of a beautiful countenance, and goodly to look to.
Uh-oh.
Ruddy.
Beautiful. Wait, read that over.
Now he was ruddy.
Now he was ruddy. Hold up.
Oh.
Now I'm going to show you with complexion. With complexion don't count.
mean nothing.
Your complexion don't count. Okay? So now the definition of ruddy is what? Admoni. I said the definition in the Hebrew for ruddy is admoni. Huh? Edom. Which means what? What that sound like? Edomite, Esau was admoni. Esau was admoni or Edom, which means King David had the same complexion as Esau. So what that tell you now? Esau is not white.
That's right.
I said Esau was not white. That white thing came about when they moved into a cold region. Europe. And it was less sun. You begin to lose melanin. Your hair gets straight after a while.
Adapt to the cold.
And you begin to adapt to the cold region. But that's years and years. Generations after generations. That's when that happened. But Esau was red and hairy. He was, you see those complexions where a person is, he's a black man, but he's reddish. His skin is red with freckles, those red guys. That's Esau.
We call them light skin.
And that tells you right there that Esau here.
They call them, today they call them gingers.
Right.
Gingers or LN.
Right. It means red skin. How was Esau's hair? Woolly. It wasn't straight.
It was like wool.
Like wool. That's why his mother had to take the skin,
goat
skin, and put it on Jacob to go before his father.
Yeah.
So that tell you right there, man.
Very heavy.
The appearance, or the physical appearance of Esau. It wasn't the white man. It wasn't the white man. God is against color, man. Against all that. God don't look at color, man. The Creator don't look at color. We the ones that look at color, and we still caught up with this slavery thing. First of all, we have to realize and recognize that God put us through slavery because we rejected God. We rejected His laws. We rejected the commandments of God. That was a sad thing, man. We migrated and went into Africa, and we still had a chance to return to God because we were still in the East. But we took on Hamitic customs, Hamitic tribes, took on tribal marks and started following after the ways of these Hamitic nations. Years and years and years and years and years and years and years. Next thing, we didn't acknowledge our fault. We didn't acknowledge our ways. God allowed a people from far to put us in ships, take us over. Cross the Atlantic. We had decks where people was chained up. Where you had to use the bathroom, you use the bathroom right there.
There is no bathroom.
They didn't unchain you and take you to the bathroom.
There is no bathroom.
There was no bathroom. A woman had a period, she bled there. You urinated there. You defecated there. That was the beginning of the bubonic plague. Pregnant woman jumped off the ship. Millions died in the Atlantic just not to be slaves. Sad, man. Tom sheet. So yeah. Ruddy is Admoni, which means King David had the same complexion as Esau. So stop looking at people's complexion. Stop telling people that this is a black nation. Stop that, please. That's right. Please stop that.
That's not in the book.
That's nowhere in the book.
God made man variant. So the colors are variant also.
That's right. Tom sheet.
Now he was ruddy and withal of a beautiful countenance, and goodly to look to.
Goodly to look to. See?
And the Lord said, "Arise, anoint him.
Arise, anoint him.
This is he."
Mm-hmm.
Then Samuel took the horn of oil.
And anointed him
in the midst of his brethren. And the Spirit of the Lord came upon David from that day forward.
The Spirit of God never left King David. From that day forward. I gotta say it again. So when King David did what he did with Bathsheba, the Spirit of God was upon him when he did it. It still was on him. But that just showed and proved that he was just mortal man. He's flesh.
What God said about flesh, he said he's man.
He's man.
That's man.
Top sheet.
The Spirit of the Lord came upon David from that day forward. So Samuel rose up and went to Ramah. But the Spirit of the Lord departed from Saul.
But the Spirit of God departed from Saul. But he still stopped the people from eating blood.
Okay.
Okay. Let's get the key now. Let's hear the key on both ends. King Saul, the Spirit of God departed from King Saul. But he still stopped the people from eating blood. He still observed the new moon with that evil spirit that was upon him. So you can still do law with an evil spirit on you. I said you can still observe Shabbat. You can still be having on fringes and doing law and got an evil spirit with you. But you know the difference? These people was able to detect it. They was able to detect when they had that evil spirit on David. And this is why when that evil spirit was on them, he would call King David to play the harp. And the harp would cause that evil spirit to depart. They was able to check it. They was able to see that. Tom, that's right.
But the Spirit of the Lord departed from Saul, and the evil spirit from the Lord troubled him.
Troubled him, read. It troubled him. I said the evil spirit troubled him. So when I looked up the definition of troubled, it's Beit Ayin Tav. It means terrified him. The evil spirit that God put on Saul terrified him. All right? It's to see suddenly, being startled. The evil spirit that God put on King Saul stirred the emotions of fear. Kept him paranoid. Kept him paranoid. Scared. That's right, Tom Sheet. So now, hold up. So when you are startled, you are still finding out exactly what is happening.
You don't know what happened.
You don't know what happened. You don't know what's taking place. and what it may mean to you because of this. The fear response is often to flee or hide, while the reaction to startled is to find out what is going on in order to respond more appropriately and immediately afterwards.
That's the proper response.
Okay? Go ahead, Tom Sheet.
Let our Lord now, and Saul's servant said unto him, Behold, now an evil spirit from God troubleth thee. Let our Lord now command thy servants, which are before thee, to seek out a man who is a cunning player on the harp. And it shall come to pass when the evil spirit from God is upon thee, that he shall play with his hand, and thou shalt be well. And Saul said unto his servants, Provide me now a man that can play well. And bring me to him. Then answered one of the servants and said, Behold, I have seen the son of Jesse the Bethlehemite.
He said, I have seen the son of Jesse the Bethlehemite that is
cunning and plain,
and
a mighty
valiant man,
and a man of war.
What does it mean to be a valiant man? Kayil. He also had Eshet Kayil. One brother said Eshet Kayil means a woman of war.
What?
No, man, where you get that from?
I don't know where you get that from. Because the definition of Kayil, it means valiant, it means moral strength, it means might, it means valor, it means ability, it means good quality, integrity, virtue, able man, capable man.
You can get it done.
So you can have a woman, a Eshet Kayil, a valiant woman, a woman of virtue, a woman of integrity, a woman that stands on her value and her integrity. When a woman has virtue and value, she values herself. You have to value yourself so you don't give away that which is precious. And that is the hymen, the virginity.
Evaluation.
You got women that died with that virginity. You know what it is to die a virgin before God? I ain't never been in a bed with a man.
She said she died in a virtue.
You know what that is? And we don't teach the importance and the value of these things. You know what it is for a woman to hold off? Don't listen to Kevin Samuel when he says, yo, you're 30 years old, put it on clearance. 40 years old, he said, put it out to dry. 50 years old, Salvation Army. Don't listen to him. Do not listen to Kevin Samuel.
That ain't right, man.
If you are holding yourself for marriage, that is a godly thing.
Hold on, sister.
Hold on. And wait till you find that man. Do not listen to Kevin Samuel. Something he said was right, and that is how it is. So now, a man of valor is a man with strength of spirit that can encounter danger, that can encounter temptation with firmness. You know what the danger and the temptation is? Sins. That's a man of valor that is able to detect where danger and temptation is at and pull back. A man of integrity don't compromise with God's laws. You know what compromise means? You know what compromise means? Ain't no compromising when it comes to God. I said ain't no compromising when it comes to God's laws. This is the laws and the commandments of God, and this is how we gonna live.
It's already set up.
That's it. There's no compromising with God's law. Don't lie, but keep their God's law. Don't lie, but keep their word with no excuses, no matter the situation. The qualities of a leader. Mental strength helps resist both internal and external influences. Mental strength. Fortitude. That's the help. That's the things that we need to fight off the external forces, the internal forces. External forces is the outside force. Internal is inside. See, we got evil in us. I said we were born with evil in us. It's our nature. And you need mental strength to fight those things. If you don't have mental strength to fight those things, you're gonna conform. You're gonna conform.
That's it.
Tom Sheik.
Cunning and playing, and a mighty valiant man, and a man of war, and prudent in matters, and a comely person, and the Lord is with him. Wherefore Saul sent messages unto Jesse, and said, Send me David thy son, which is with the sheep. And Jesse took an ass laden with bread, and a bottle of wine, and a kid, and sent them by David his son unto Saul. And David came to Saul and stood before him, and he loved him greatly, and he became his armor bearer. And Saul sent to Jesse, saying, Let David, I pray thee, stand before me. Well, he has found favor in my sight.
Yeah, he had to go with you. And so asked Jesse. He said, Man, listen, man, I need this guy with me. You got to stand before me because David already had a job.
I need him available.
I had to watch my father's sheep. He said, but King, he said, man, all right.
The king.
After that, the king. That was one of the things that Samuel was trying to inform the people. That the king is going to take your daughters to make perfection, to make perfume. He's going to take your sons. So once he asks for that, that's it.
Taxes.
Tom Sheik.
That's what you wanted the king.
And it came to pass when the evil spirit from God was come upon Saul, that David took
Go to Psalms 15. It said it came to pass when the evil spirit from God was upon Saul. You see where the evil spirit lies at? You see where evil spirit comes from? It comes from God. I said it comes from God, all because of your shortcomings. When you are short with God, then he puts an evil spirit on you to cause you to turn that way. Cause you to go the other way, but never a straight way. Go ahead. Psalms chapter 15.
Who shall abide in thy tabernacle?
Who shall abide? You know what's the definition of abide or what it means to abide? Who's going to dwell? Who's going to live? Who's going to fare in my tabernacle? So the definition of tabernacle, the tabernacle, it was the portable sanctuary. The portable sanctuary constructed by Moses. And the sanctuary, the sanctuary is the printout of how the temple was built.
That's correct.
The temple was built after the blueprint of the sanctuary. It had an inner court, it had an outside court. You can go on the outside court, but only certain men was permitted to go on the inner court. The high priest was the only ones accepted to go in there. And God commanded him and said, do not come in here whenever you feel like it. Don't come in here, the holies of holies, when you feel like it. So before you come in here, you better make a smoke. Because if you come in here, make sure you got the bell and the pomegranate on, because I want to hear you when you're coming. Don't come sneaking up on me either. If you come in here and you see me,
announce yourself.
You're going to die. I'm going to kill
yourself.
Because I could be stretched out, chilling in my seat. I'm in the mercy seat, chilling, relaxing between those two cherubs.
Right there chilling at that moment.
Go ahead. Now, hold up. So, portable sanctuary constructed by Moses as a place of worship. Then Solomon built the temple through the idea of his father, King David. Tom Sheik.
Who shall dwell in our holy hill?
The holy hill, that holy mountain, that's Mount Zion. Tom Sheik.
He that walketh uprightly and worketh righteousness.
He that what?
Walketh uprightly and worketh righteousness.
He that walketh uprightly. The word uprightly is tamim. He that walketh whole or complete. Okay? Whole or complete. So what do it mean to be whole? Whole meaning ways of thinking. Ways of feelings. Ways of actions. These three things are very important to a person that is striving for perfection or striving to be upright or striving to be whole before God. There's a way that I need to be thinking. There's a way that I shouldn't be thinking. If I continue to think this way, then I will not be complete before God. I cannot be whole before God. Feelings, ways of feelings. Ways of feelings are stirred up emotions. The emotions that is stirred up in me that I allow to stir up within myself for things that God don't accept, but you accept it. So I get emotional about things that God hate and despise.
That's right.
In your actions.
Talk about it, brother.
Complete means all barriers are covered. You know what all barriers is?
No breach.
When all barriers is covered, there's no breach. There's no opening. There's only an opening within your spirit when you left it open by violating the laws, commandments, and statutes. No opening for anything against God to enter.
Gotcha.
I said no opening for anything against God to enter. So when these things comes to our mind, because it comes here first. Before I violate the commandments of God, it came here first. And then you act upon it. But when it came here, did you correct it? I said, when it came here, my job is to correct those evil and atrocious thoughts and remind myself that I shouldn't be thinking that way.
That's right.
Remind myself that I shouldn't be moving this way.
That's right.
Remind myself that I have to have more consideration. Remind myself that I have to consider people. Which means there's no time for second thoughts or second guessing. I don't have time for second thoughts or second guessing. Time sheet.
He that walketh
Uprightly
and worketh righteousness and speaketh the truth in his heart.
Worketh righteousness and speaketh the truth in his heart. Worketh righteousness. Poel Zedek. Right? Doing right. To do what is ethical or just. I said to do what is ethical or just. What is ethical? Ethical is moral principles, acceptable morals, and moral values. All what gives us these moral principles and acceptable principles and morals and moral values? The keeping and the honoring of the laws and the commandments of God gives you correct or godly morals, godly principles, values. Just meaning conforming to a standard of correctness. Tom sheet.
And speaketh the truth in his heart.
Okay, now speak the truth in your heart. Say how you feel. Say how you feel. If I feel one way and this is how I feel, no, tell me the truth.
Yeah.
Tell me how you feel. Speak the truth. Tell me how you feel deep down in your heart. All right? Go ahead.
He that backbiteth not with his tongue.
Okay, the definition of backbiting in the Hebrew is ragal. Ragal means slander. Slander is a false oral statement that damages a person's character. So what you said done damaged the person's character. You done said something to damage the man's character.
Assassinate his character.
Go ahead.
Nor do it evil to his neighbor.
Nor do it evil to his neighbor. Read.
Nor take it up a reproach against his neighbor.
Nor take it up a reproach. Right? Against his neighbor. The Hebrew word for reproach is kirpah. Kirpah is a shameful thing. Nor take it up a shameful thing against his neighbor. Quedo. Quedo means his kinsmen, your family, your relatives. So there are certain things that needs to keep within the house.
Okay.
There's certain things that I should not be spreading abroad.
That's right.
Because this is your brother's shame.
That's right. Teach.
Huh? This is your brother's shame.
Teach.
I can't take your shame
Right.
and reveal it to Negroes.
That's right. Teach.
And make your brother look bad in front of Negroes.
That's right. Teach.
Make your brother look bad in front of people
That's right.
that don't serve God.
That's right.
Why? Because your brother's shame is my shame.
Okay.
Huh?
All right, big bro.
So do we correct these things within ourselves? Say, yo, man, don't thumbs down your brother in front of people.
Okay, big bro.
That's why God said, correct him. Go to him. And if you don't like something, talk to him.
That's right. That's right.
You don't voice certain things out in the open. Because these are things that's shameful according to me.
That's right.
And now you're belittling me. Right? Go ahead. So now hold up. So when you reveal shameful things about what happens with family, between households, certain things needs to be held within and not spoken about. That shows that you have no faithfulness in you. I said that shows that you have no faithfulness in you. Now, how do you expect to be faithful to God if you can't be faithful to your own family, your own brothers, your own people? So I have to be faithful with what's in front of me before I can be faithful with God. I can't even see God. How are you going to be faithful with God?
You can't be faithful with
And
him.
you can look, before Abraham knew God and showed faithfulness to God, he was faithful to his father.
That's right.
He was faithful to his father.
Right.
And God saw the amount of faithfulness that he had for his father. He said, man, this guy, he can be faithful to me. According to how he was faithful to his own father. And that's why God pulled Abraham out of that rock of serving gods and idols and deities. Mosai killed his parents, killed his father, and he instructed Abraham and told Abraham, he said, leave off from your family. Leave off from your relatives. Leave off from your nativity. That's when you truly know if a person made their mind up to serve God. If they are able to leave off from their own family that don't acknowledge the same God you serve. Tom Sheep.
In whose eyes a vile person is contemned.
In whose eyes a vile person is contemned. Huh? A vile person. Now we're going to learn to see if we're vile or not. The word vile is ma'as. Ma'as means rejected, despised, or contemned. Right? Despised means to feel contempt or deep repugnance for. Right? To feel contempt or deep repugnance for. Right? Contempt means what? The feeling that a person is beneath consideration. The feeling that a person is beneath to be considered.
Big eyes.
Or no, that is
Big eyes and
when you
little
disregard others.
Big eyes.
This is where they get that from.
Little
They know
you.
big eyes and little U's. We in the same hole. So I have to learn to consider you,
Dang, that's right.
and you have to learn to consider me.
Dang.
If you don't consider me, it's not my job not to consider you.
No,
Just
don't
put me
follow
in the
me.
same plane.
Yeah, okay, got you. I got
And
you.
just make me the same like you.
I got you.
I still have to consider you.
I got
You don't want to consider me, then that's you. Now it's time to put a distance.
Uh-huh.
Because I'm the only one considering.
Uh-huh.
Okay? Repugnance means to contradict. To contradict means what? To deny the truth by asserting the opposite. To deny the truth by saying the opposite. So a vile person is despicable. A vile person is worthless or obnoxious, and he stirs up moral indignation. So now, what is moral indignation? What is obnoxious? What is worthless? Moral indignation is a feeling of anger or resentment towards something that is perceived as morally wrong or unfair. An obnoxious person is very unpleasant because of being aggressive, loud, or offensive, which causes you to dislike them which causes distaste feeling. A worthless person means having no real value, no good qualities. You can tell if a person is worthless according to their value. What do you value? What are your good qualities? Now you can tell if a person is worthless or not. Tom Sheik.
Yes, sir. But he honoreth them that fear the Lord.
He honoreth them that fear God.
He that sweareth to his own hurt and change it not.
He that sweareth to his own hurt and change it not. The word for his own hurt, it means lehara. It means he that sweareth for evil and change it not. Which means, this is why I say, when Yephthah vowed to offer up the first thing that came out of his house and his daughter came, in the Hebrew it said he offered her up for olah. Or olah is a burnt offering. And his vow was not right. I mean, he vowed right. But when his daughter came in,
He wasn't expecting it.
he wasn't expecting his daughter to
That's why
come
when she
in.
walked out, he said, I lied.
He said, man, she
said, you
stressed
troubled
him
me.
out. You
He said,
troubled
you troubled me.
But she told him, listen, do as you said out of your mouth.
He didn't say the first person. He said the first
First
thing.
The first thing.
So that generalized.
That's what he said.
That's a generalization.
Yeah, that's right. He said the first thing. And when his daughter came,
She just happened to be the first thing.
he had to do it. Now people say, oh, God don't accept human sacrifice. I know that. Yeah, God don't accept it. But guess what? Once you vow it,
Read the book.
once you vow it and you mention that you're going to do it,
You
you
have
must
to
do it. You see what the Psalm said?
He said for
He
good
said, he that sweareth for
or
evil,
bad.
Change it not.
he that sweareth for evil and don't change. The word is he that sweareth for his own hurt. In the Hebrew, it means evil. He that sweareth to do evil and they don't change.
I swear to do evil, I still gotta do it. I
Tom,
swear.
see?
He that put it.
Go to the Apocrypha. All right. It said, he that swear, Tobit, chapter 2. He said, he that sweareth for evil and change it not. He that putteth not out his money to usury.
Yeah.
He that putteth not out his money to usury. Which means, I come, give you money, but when it's time to pay back, you have to put some extra on it.
Interest, that's interest.
Now, know for certain that when you come to borrow, you must bring a pledge. All through the book teaches us that.
That's right.
When I come to borrow, I have to bring something of value and give to this guy here that I'm borrowing from. That's the law. When you go to borrow, you should always have a pledge, something for collateral. Don't come to me to borrow and you ain't got no collateral. And then don't let the man do the law. Say, nah, man, you ain't got to give me nothing. No, the law says to give you a pledge.
Sure. Yeah, right. That's right.
That's what the book said.
Go by the book.
Go by the book.
That's what the book
Why
said.
things go wrong.
Let's go by the book. Tom Sheik. Let's go. First, was it Tobit? I said Tobit.
Chapter 2.
We're going to go into the Apocrypha. Right? Tobit, chapter 2. Yes, chapter 2. And we're going to ride out with this.
Now, when I was come home again, and my wife Anna was restored unto me.
This was during the time of the Assyrian captivity. Sennacherib. And during this captivity, people's wives was being taken.
Yeah.
People's children was being taken. This one was being taken. Everybody was being taken. And they restore you whenever they felt like it.
If you get restored.
If you get restored. So these guys took his wife and they restored her back to Tobias. And with his son, they took his wife and his son. Only God knows how long he was without his children, his son and his wife.
What they make them do.
And Tamshi.
And my wife Anna was restored unto me with my son Tobias in the feast of Pentecost.
What that sound like?
In the feast
of Pentecost. That is the what? The Feast of Weeks. That is what we are observing today. Okay? Feast of Weeks.
Which is the holy feast.
The holy feast of the 7 weeks.
There was a good dinner prepared me.
And that's what we do today. Because we say, we shouldn't be observing these days because God said to observe it in Jerusalem, right? Which is correct. But we're not there. We are cast out and kicked out our land. Exactly. And guess what? I'm going to still observe these days to keep my mind and be in tune with my God and keep me focused. So therefore, when these days come around, Mama makes up a big dinner.
I'm celebrating these days.
Baked macaroni and cheese.
Good dinner.
Potato salad, sweet potatoes, candy yams, coconut rice and peas, spaghetti and meatballs, cornbread,
lemonade,
chocolate covered green. All these things prepared a good dinner. Collard greens, fruit salad. This woman cooks, and look, anytime, every Shabbat she's cooking big. Every Shabbat she cooked big. And then on the festival occasion, appointed times, she cooked big. That's what we do. Tamshi.
And
show our delight because God commanded us to rejoice in these things. So we have to show our happiness and rejoicing while we're doing it wrong, because we're not sure if this is the correct time, but we're gonna be doing it wrong before we get it right.
Where's the jolly spirit?
Huh? The same way they had the jolly spirit during the Xmas. During Xmas, we gotta have a delightful spirit. For God's appointed times. A delighted spirit, a festive spirit for the Shabbat.
That's right.
Don't get sad when the Shabbat comes. People get sad when the Shabbat comes around.
Yeah. We gotta be at the plantation.
You know why? Because everything got to get shut down.
Yeah.
No more TV. No more music. No more drinking. No more doing your delight. No more doing your pleasure. And because you can't do what pleasures you and what your see, my pleasure.
Get an easy spirit.
The pleasure, our delight is supposed to be in serving God. Right.
When I saw abundance of meat,
I
said to my son,
what he told his
go and bring what poor man soever.
Go and bring what poor man soever
thou shalt find
out
of our brethren.
Out of our brethren.
Who is mindful
of God.
Not everybody.
He said, don't bring everybody.
Come in.
I need you to go bring brethren or our people that is mindful of God. And if you're not mindful of God,
you can't
don't bring them.
Even if you are
leave them there.
Out of our brethren.
Even if you're one of our brothers. He said, don't bring them. Let them stay.
We're not jacking this. We can't jack it.
Now, another part of the book says, he said, feed the wicked. And I will heap hot coals upon his head. He said, feed the wicked, I will heap hot coals upon his head. Right? So, we can't go around and say, well, we should only bring food for people that's mindful of God. Because also in another part, you got to be here a little, there a little. See, this situation. Why Tobit said, bring the ones that are mindful of God. You know why he said bring the ones that's mindful of God? The ones that he could trust because of what he was doing. He was burying the Israelites. He was burying the dead. And if I bring ones or people that I can't trust, they're going to snitch me out. He gonna snitch, he gonna eat my food and go to Syria, tell the judge, tell the king. He said, yo, man, there's a man over here burying the dead. He gonna get me in trouble.
Well, he got the toothpick in his mouth.
Clean it out.
But he came again and said, Father, One of our nation is strangled.
One of our nation is strangled. You see what they was doing to us?
Just choking them out and leaving them,
there, hanging us, leaving them there. Go ahead. And it's cast out in the marketplace.
Then, before I had tasted of any meat, I started up and took him into a room.
Wait a minute. You see his mindset?
Stop eating.
I didn't say let me finish my food.
I don't feel good.
And take care of what I need to take care of concerning God.
All laid out.
I put my food aside and I took care of God's job first, which means we cannot put things above the laws and the commandments of God.
Yeah, I'm trying to stuff him out before the sun go down.
Okay?
It's a praying fool.
Go ahead.
But he came again and said, Father, one of our nation is strangled, is cast out in the marketplace. Then before I had tasted of any meat, I started up and took him up into a room until the going down of the sun.
He said, I took him, put him in the room until the sun went down.
Then I returned.
Now he's unclean by the dead now. Now, Friday, I went into the uncleanness law, right? Now, I had to make not a minor correction, but I had to add something on. When a man is doing the cleanliness law and he's unclean, right? Of course, but if you touch a chair where a woman sit on, he's unclean. If you touch a bed where a woman sat on her menstruation or sit on it, he's unclean. The same thing with a man that has an issue.
Right.
And guess what else? If a man touches anything that is unclean by the dead, he has to wash. But guess what? He's unclean. The person, if you are unclean by the dead,
can't get there.
You can't get it. You're already unclean.
No getting it off.
You don't have to wash for that.
You need the high priest.
You can't get that off.
Yeah, no getting that off.
And you are already unclean. You are already unclean by the dead. So you can touch things that's unclean by the dead because you're already unclean by the dead. So that's something that you don't have to wash for. Go ahead, read.
Then I returned and washed myself and ate my meat in heaviness.
But he knew that uncleanness couldn't go through.
But what?
He knew by me washing, it's not going to remove it. He said, but I still washed.
I still have respect.
I still went and washed.
I still have respect.
Regardless of if it was going to remove it or not, I still have respect.
Oh, because we ain't in the land, huh?
Go ahead.
Then I returned and washed myself and ate my meat in heaviness, remembering that prophecy of Amos, as he said, your feast shall be turned into mourning, and all your mirth into lamentation.
Remembering the prophecy of Amos. He said, what? Your what?
Your feast shall be turned into mourning.
Turned into mourning.
And all your mirth into lamentation.
Therefore
I wept. And after the going down of the sun, I went and made a grave, buried him. But my neighbors mocked me and said, this man is not yet afraid to be put to death.
He said, but my neighbors mocked me. He said, man, this guy is not afraid. Huh? He said, and yet, go ahead, read.
Yet afraid, this man is not yet afraid to be put to death for this matter, who fled away, and yet, lo, he buried the dead again.
He said, man, this guy done ran off, and he ain't afraid, because he continues to bury the dead.
That don't even sound like a joke.
Read.
The same
now,
night.
That's what mock is.
Wasn't even a joke, though.
Mocking is when you talk against.
Right.
See, we don't even know what mocking
go
is.
against someone
You're talking against them.
Offending me.
You go against them. You're mocking them.
Go against your parents.
You go against your parents. You talk against your parents. You're mocking them.
Go against the teachers.
The book teaches us what mock is, what words mean. And this is what we need to realize.
So not
the book teaches us what words mean.
Rulers of the people.
This man is not yet afraid to be put to death for this matter, who fled away, and yet, lo, he buried the dead again. The same night also I returned from the burial and slept by the wall of my courtyard, being polluted, and my face was uncovered. And I knew not that there were sparrows.
I didn't know there were sparrows inside the what?
In the wall.
In the wall.
And mine eyes being open, the sparrows muted warm dung.
So now he's laying up by the tree. His eyes is open. The birds, the sparrows muted warm dung into his eyes. Read.
And the whiteness came in mine eyes.
And they blind him.
And I went to the physicians, but they helped me not.
Mm-hmm.
Moreover, Achiacarus did nourish me until I went into Elamias.
He went to the physicians.
Ain't
Ain't nothing wrong with going to the physicians. People would say, "Oh, why you ain't turn to God?" He's blind. He went to the physicians to see if he could get this fixed. Go ahead, read. That's what God, listen, this is what God gave us doctors for. Doctors,
That's right.
nurses.
That's right. In hands of the
To go to them
tend to the
and
sick.
get healed.
That's right.
God gave us these
That's
things.
right.
It's wisdom.
That's right.
Stop, she.
Why should you die before you die?
Verse 11. And my wife Anna did take woman's works to do.
Now, by all means, trust in God first. Trust in God first.
And always.
Before you put your trust in doctors. I'm not saying
clear.
don't trust God first.
Of
Of course, by all means, trust God first.
Yep.
And after you,
Then you go to
then you go to the physicians. Tom Sheep.
And my wife Anna did take woman's works to do. When she had sent them home to the owners, they paid her wages.
So Hannah was a what? A helpmeet. Ezed kinegdo. Ezed is a help, a support. Huh? Kinegdo is my opposite. My counterpart. Right? So when Tobit was blind, she went out and started doing woman's work. What is woman's work? She sold. She sold, right? What happened?
And when she had sent them home to the owners, they paid her wages.
They paid her wages.
And gave her also besides a
They
kid.
paid her wages and gave her also besides a kid. Read.
When it was in my house,
When it was in my house,
I began to
and
cry.
it began to cry.
I said unto her, from whence is this kid?
Tobit said, where you get this kid from?
Go
ahead.
Is it not stolen?
Did you steal it?
Render it to the owners.
Go give it back to the owners.
For it is not lawful.
But it's not lawful to eat anything that is stolen. That's why God said, read here a little, read there a little. So when you eat things that is stolen, it's not lawful. This is why we don't buy clothes from people that is stolen, from boosters.
Scammers.
If I got something from a person that stole, I don't want that. And I'm not going to take it and give it away. I don't want no parts of that.
Products off the street.
Products off the street. Read.
But she replied upon me.
That was her response.
It was given for a gift more than the wages.
It was given more of a gift, more than the wages. She didn't say, why are you blaming me? You're accusing me of telling me I'm a thief now? Come on, I'm a thief.
That's a false accusation.
That's you falsely accusing
She
me.
didn't get highly defensive.
She didn't get defensive. That's our problem now.
Highly defensive.
We get defensive. Guess what? Me too. You ain't the only one. People say certain things. I get immediate defensive. I gotta calm down. I said, oh, let me stop. Because there's a way to handle matters.
There's a way to handle
matters. There's a way to handle things. But that comes in time with you controlling your spirit, ruling your spirit. All that is a part of ruling your spirit.
That's what this is all about.
In controlling your emotions. He said, howbeit I did not believe her. Go ahead.
But bade her,
but I told her,
owners.
Go give it back to the owners.
You stole it.
That was a bad
I was ashamed of it.
But she replied upon me, where are thine arms and thy righteous deeds? Behold, thou and all thy works alone.
You know what she said? She picked them up. She said, your righteous deeds is known amongst men. And if I go and steal, then I'm bringing shame upon you. This is why I tell the wives, when the wives act up, you bring shame upon your husbands.
That's right.
So there's a way that the wives need to move to show honor towards your man.
You gotta believe that though.
Tom Sheep. chapter 3. Tobit, chapter 3.
Then I, being grieved, did weep, and in my sorrow prayed, saying, O Lord, thou art just.
Thou art just.
In all thy works and all thy ways are mercy and truth.
In all your works and all your ways are mercy and truth. You see that? Your ways, all of God's ways and all of his works is mercy and truth. So which means what? All of our ways and all of our works must be in order of mercy and truth. Tamshi.
And thou judgest truly and justly forever. Remember me, and look on me,
and look upon me.
Punish me not for my sins.
Punish me not for my sins
and ignorances,
and
the sins of my fathers, who have sinned before
thee.
For they obeyed not thy commandments. Wherefore thou hast delivered us for spoil.
Tobit realized it. Tobit realized it. And he recognized that God has delivered us into captivity to be a spoil,
into slavery. That's right.
Into slavery, because we have not obeyed the commandment of God. We haven't obeyed the commandment of God.
That's why.
That's right.
That's right.
That's a good point.
That's right.
Tobit wasn't violating the law. He wasn't sinning. But you can still pull away from sin and walk upright with God and still go through it.
Right on the righteous.
Still go through it because it reigns on the righteous as well as the wicked.
That's right.
Well, they obeyed not thy commandments, wherefore thou hast delivered us for a spoil unto captivity and unto death, and for a proverb of reproach to all the nations among whom we are dispersed. And now thy judgments are many and true. Deal with me according to my sins.
Deal with me according to my sins and my fathers.
Because we have not kept thy commandments.
Commandments.
Neither have we walked in truth before.
But he kept God's law. He kept God's law. He walked in the ways of God. He said, but he still had that.
That's why this is
had that humility. He still had that guilty conscience with himself of why he ended up in captivity because of his father's sins. He still fought in himself. You see the mind frame? Tamshi.
Now therefore deal with me as seemeth best unto me.
Deal with me how you seem best, O Lord.
And command my spirit to be taken from me, that I may be dissolved and become earth. For it is profitable for me to die rather than to live, because I have heard false reproaches and have much sorrow.
It is profitable for me to die and not live. He said, because I have heard false reproaches. I'm hearing people talking and saying things and pointing the finger and slandering my name.
And have much sorrow. Command therefore that I may now be delivered out of this distress. And go into the everlasting place. Turn not thy face away from me.
He asked God to kill him.
I'm ready to get up out of
He
here.
said, send me to that everlasting place.
They got me looking crazy.
That's the only thing that's
send me to where I should live.
He said they got me looking crazy out here.
Everlasting place.
It came to pass the same day that in Ecbatane, the city of Midia, Sarah, the daughter of Raguel, was also reproached by her father's maids, because that she had been married to 7 husbands, whom Asmodeus, the evil spirit, had killed before they had lain with her.
That was one of the demons of hell.
That's mine.
He's a prince.
Yeah, he was one of the princes, one of the 7 princes of those demons in hell. You think the adversary don't got demons
You got him
and followers?
Yeah, you got imps.
You got him.
He was the only evil spirit. Dost thou not know, said they, that thou hast strangled thine husbands? Thou hast had already 7 husbands.
So now she got married. She said, but every time she go into the chamber to marry or to cohabitate with her husband, this demon kills her husband. And when she comes out, the man is dead. So now the maiden is just teasing her, saying, man, you done killed these guys, man. You done strangled 7 of your husbands. Come see.
Thou hast already 7 husbands, neither wast thou named after any of them.
Tom Sheep.
Wherefore dost thou beat us for them? If they be dead, go thy ways after them. Let us never see of thee either son or daughter. She heard these things. When she heard these things,
she was very sorrowful,
so that she thought to have strangled herself. And she said, I am the only daughter of my father. And if I do this, it shall be a reproach unto him.
That's honor.
See that?
You know what she said? Read that over.
I am the only daughter of my father.
I am the only daughter of my father.
And if I do this,
it
shall be a reproach unto him.
Which means we have to consider
what you're doing, how you moving,
what we do, how we move, because the things that you do, the things that you say affects the character of your mother and your father. And that's what this woman was thinking about. It's going to cause, the things that I do is going to cause people to look at my parents in a certain way. The same thing Moses did for God.
Right?
The same thing Moses did for God.
Make you look good.
I said the same thing Moses did for God, because this is why Moses intercepted and went in. He said, listen, Lord, he said, don't kill these people. He said, because if they kill these people, they're going to talk junk. They're going to bring dirt upon your name. Moses considered the name of God, and he stood in the breach and stood in the opening. And God hearkened to him. God hearkened to him because what he said made sense. Tom Sheep.
And if I do this, it shall be a reproach unto him, and I shall bring his old age with sorrow unto the grave. Then she prayed toward the window and said, Blessed art thou, Lord my God, and thine holy and glorious name is blessed and honorable forever. Let all thy works praise thee forever. And now, O Lord, I set mine eyes and my face toward thee, and say, take me out of the earth, that I may hear no more the reproach. Thou knowest, Lord, that I am pure from all sin with man.
You know what she said? He said, thou knowest, O Lord, that I am pure from all sin with man. The woman was a virgin. She had not been penetrated by no man.
Pure from all sin with man. Has never been touched by me.
Never been touched, Tom Sheep.
And that I never polluted my name, nor the name of my father, in the land of my captivity. I am the only daughter of my father. Neither hath he any child to be his heir, neither any near kinsman, nor any son of his alive, to whom I may keep myself for a wife. My 7 husbands are already dead, and why should I live? But if it please not thee that I should die, command some regard to be had of me, and pity taken of me, that I hear no more reproach. So the prayers of them both were heard before the majesty of the great God. And Raphael was sent to heal them both. That is, to scale away the whiteness of Tobit's eyes, and to give Sarah, the daughter of Raphael, for a wife to Tobias, the son of Tobit, and to bind Asmodeus, the evil spirit, because she belonged to Tobias by right of inheritance.
So now, I had a question. We're going to go into Joshua chapter 24. How was she a virgin if she had 7 husbands? Right? The husbands never got a chance to penetrate.
They were promised to.
She was promised to him. She went into the chamber, but they never got a chance to penetrate her. What made them their husband was because their father promised them to her. But it was a monkey wrench through in there.
Right.
This demon killed the husband before he was able to penetrate her.
It was under command.
Right? Because it was under the command of God. This woman was promised to Tobias by right of inheritance. And when Tobias went into her, she was a virgin. Seems like today. You know what? See, we have to learn what marriage is. You know what? Sanctified. That's why, according to what we read, what consummates the marriage is when the father gives his daughter to this man. Once I give my daughter to this man, he said, go ahead, you can marry my daughter. Right? The husband happened not to penetrate. He ended up getting killed, shot. All right, yeah, you come in, all right, you marry my daughter. They leave out, they go home now. Now, before they get home or whatever, he ended up getting killed. That was still her husband.
Yeah.
That was still her husband because it was ordered by her father. And the father has that power. That's what makes it valid. Was the order of the father.
That's right. So he used to use the evil spirit to do the evil and then bind them.
That's right. That's right.
He was under command.
That's right.
That's what it was.
Let's go to Joshua chapter 24. Joshua chapter 24. Got it?
Joshua chapter 24.
Uh-huh.
And Joshua gathered all the tribes of Israel at Shechem and called for the elders of Israel and for their heads and for their judges and for their officers. And they presented themselves before God. Joshua chapter 24.
Right.
And Joshua gathered all the tribes of Israel at Shechem and called for the elders of Israel and for their heads and for their judges and for their officers. They presented themselves before God. Joshua said unto all the people, thus saith the Lord God of Israel.
Thus saith the Lord, the God of Israel.
Your fathers
dwelt on the other side of the flood
in old times. Even Terah, the father of Abraham, and the father of Nahor. They served other gods.
The word for serve, the word for other, it means aked or akare. They went after other gods. To go after other gods means subsequent to. It means to attend, to have the same views of, to resemble, to be on accord with, or conformity. So we have to watch what we attend. Why do we continue to attend functions that has nothing to do with Israel?
That's right. Why?
Why do we attend functions that has nothing to do with God?
Talk about it.
Why?
Talk about
Okay. To conform, it said to be on one accord with or conformity. Conformity meaning to adapt oneself to standards or customs, to be in agreement with form. To be in agreement with form, which is your fashion, how you dress. So how you dress tells me who you are. What you wear tells me who you are as a person. Your manners is your custom. What kind of customs and habits you got? It tells me who you are as a person. Your character means what? The way you think tells me your character. Your settled habits becomes your character. Tom Sheet.
And they served other gods.
And they served other gods.
And I took your father Abraham from the other side of the flood.
So Abraham served other gods. Right? Go ahead. Terah served other gods. Haran, all those gods served deities. But it was a certain faithfulness that was found in Abraham. Abraham was the only man with that faithfulness that God saw fit to remove him from that family, from his nativity. See, we got to look at that. Look at things like that. You are the only one out of all your family that God saw fit to reveal these laws, commandments, and statutes to you. Because what? Your family, what you have in you, that God saw a little value in you and quality to reveal these things to you, they don't have it.
They don't have that inclination.
They don't have that. So therefore, God separate you from these people, from your family, from your kinsmen, to reveal to you who God is. Tom Sheet.
And I took your father Abraham from the other side of the flood,
From the other
and led
side
him
of the flood,
throughout all the land of Canaan, and multiplied his seed, and gave him Isaac.
gave him Isaac.
And I gave unto Isaac Jacob and Esau.
Gave unto Isaac, Jacob and Esau. Remember now, Jacob and Esau are brethren.
They're brothers.
Okay?
That's right.
Esau and Jacob are Shemitic.
Twin brothers that are Shemitic.
They are from the same man.
Isaac.
Leave Esau alone. Look, when Jacob saw Esau, Esau forgave him.
He was happy to see him.
And he was happy to see him. Esau forgave Jacob. And Jacob, he just wanted to gain favor in his brother's eyes. Because if it was just Jacob, Jacob wouldn't have did that.
No, he wouldn't.
He said, Mama, he said, if I do this, I'm going to be looked at as a deceiver in the eyes of my father. And he's going to curse me instead of giving me a blessing. Rebecca looked at him. She said, that curse be upon me, my son.
Don't worry about it, son.
Only do according to what I'm telling you to do.
I want to hear that, son.
Right? So when she did that, why did she do that? See, we have to read the book and go back. When she inquired of God, and God informed her and told her what's going to take place. So she moved upon what God told her. Then all that had to happen.
It was told.
It was told.
One go serve the younger.
Why you think after they got grown, Esau was a tiller, was a hunter. But Jacob was a man that stayed in his house. He's a plain man. Huh? A plain man. Lives a plain life.
Well intense.
Don't you see how Jacob, the characteristics of Jacob is? The true seed of Jacob lives a plain life. He lives a simple life. I don't need to be traveling all over the place. I gotta get my passport. I need to travel the world and just spend unnecessary money to travel. When I retire, I'm not traveling no world. The best thing that can happen to me is to retire. You know why? Because it's time to pick it up after that. Now, this is where my mind is at now. When I can retire from work, it's time to really pick it up with these laws. Now I can really put time in, like my father used to do. He said, now I ain't got nowhere going. I ain't doing nothing else. He said, you know what? I'm going to fast for 3 days. The man fasts for 3 days.
Every week.
Every week for the rest of his life till he died. Wore sackcloth. He never took the sackcloth off. See, this is when you are able to pursue and walk up, really, really do things that you can't do when you're working. Right? Go ahead, read.
And I gave unto Isaac, Jacob, and Esau.
I gave unto Isaac, Jacob, and Esau.
And I gave unto Esau Mount Seir.
I gave unto Esau Mount Seir.
To possess it.
To possess it.
But Jacob and his children went down into Egypt.
Jacob and who?
And his children went down into Egypt.
70 souls went down into Egypt. Because it has been told to Abraham that your sons, your children, is going to serve a people for 400 years. 400 years. Go ahead, read.
I sent Moses also and Aaron, and I plagued Egypt according to that which I did among them. And afterward I brought you out. And I brought your fathers out of Egypt. And you came unto the sea. And the Egyptians pursued after your fathers.
The Egyptians pursued after your fathers.
With chariots. Horsemen unto the Red Sea.
Unto the Red Sea.
When they cried unto the Lord.
When they cried unto God.
He put darkness between you
and
the Egyptians.
Darkness. Now this wasn't no regular darkness.
It was a cloud. It was a cloud. That's crazy. That's crazy. I'm talking about Egyptians.
Right. This wasn't no regular darkness. This was a darkness that light could not penetrate.
It's like a black hole.
Something like the darkness that was in the beginning.
They had to spend the night. They had to spend the night where they was at. They had to set up.
Right. Something like the darkness that the scientists found.
Dark matter.
Dark matter. See, God allows these people to find and discover certain things so that it can approve what we read here in the book. This is why, okay, go ahead. to strengthen this, to cause us to believe this. But we figure out and we saw, and all these things is being shown.
No.
But we still don't believe. Tom Sheep.
And brought the sea upon them and covered them. And your eyes have seen what I have done in Egypt. And you dwelt in the wilderness a long season. And I brought you into the land of the Amorites.
Land of the
Dwelt
Amorites.
on the other side Jordan. And they fought with you. And I gave them into your hand, that you might possess their land. And I destroyed them from before you. Then Balak, the son of Zippor, king of Moab, arose and warred against Israel, and sent and called Balaam.
Okay, so he said, I brought you into the land of the Amorites, right? The Amorites were descendants of Canaan, who was cursed by Noah because of his father Ham seeing his father's nakedness while he was in the tent. Nowhere in the book states that Ham saw his mother's nakedness.
Stop adding.
So why do we continue to add on to what we read and it ain't there? See, now we have to go back into the law now. Keligabed. A man's tool, a man's utensil, a man's chair, a man's bed.
She wasn't in there.
Notice that Jacob had his own tent. Notice that Raquel and Leah had their own tent. And when Leah hired Jacob with the mandrakes, he went into her tent and lied on her bed. But she never went into Jacob's tent and lied on his bed, which means I can sit on your bed. I can sit on your chair. I'm the husband. You can't sit on my chair. You can't lay on my bed. You can't use my cup. The only thing it states in the law is that a man shall not put on a woman's garment. But according to the law, it states for the woman that a woman cannot, a man's keli, a man's utensil or cup or artifact cannot be concerning a woman. Even goes as far as matters. Words. That's right. Matters and situations that's concerning men.
And you got your 2 cents. Shut up, woman. Shut up.
Remember that movie Friday? When the father said his son went to go fight Debo. He said, Debo, no, don't get him. No. He's screaming because Debo beating flames out of Craig. So now Craig wakes up from being knocked out, picks up the brick and busts Debo in his head, and now he can up winning. So now he's winning. The mother goes. What the father say? He said, leave him alone. He said, let him be a man. Let him be a man. Ease off. Let him be a man.
No,
he's ready to show him affection.
Too quick.
Leave him alone. Leave him.
That's a very good example.
Tom Sheep.
Very good example. Then Balak, the son of Zippor, king of Moab, arose and warred against Israel, and sent and called Balaam, the son of Beor, to curse you.
Sent and called Balaam, the son of Beor, to curse.
And I would not hearken unto Balaam.
I would not hearken to Balaam.
Therefore he blessed you still.
So
I delivered you out of his hand. And he went over Jordan, and he came unto Jericho. And the men of Jericho fought against you. The Amorites, the Perizzites, the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Girgashites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites. And I delivered them into your hand.
Canaanite nations. All these nations came out of Ham. And guess what? These nations is from Africa. See, Noah had 3 sons. Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and they all migrated into 3 different regions. All right? Ham migrated into Africa. All those Hamitic tribes come from Africa. Okay? Japheth migrated into Europe. Okay? And Shem migrated into Asia.
Which is in between.
Which is in between.
Europe and Africa.
That's right.
It's in the Middle East.
Jerusalem is in Asia.
Yes.
But a lot of people teach and say that Jerusalem is in Africa.
It's not.
American map. They don't
map.
America done messed up the map.
Messed up the map. All those spots is in Asia. Iraq is in Asia.
That's Babylon.
That's Babylon.
Babylon is Iraq and Iran.
All those spots is in Asia.
That's right.
That globe is wrong.
Top sheet.
Globe
It
is
is.
wrong.
It's all. And I sent the hornet before you,
Uh-huh.
which drave them out before you.
Uh-huh.
Even the 2 kings of the Amorites, but not with thy sword, nor with thy bow.
Uh-huh.
And I have given you a land for which ye did not labor, and cities which ye built not, and ye dwelled in them, of the vineyards and olive trees which ye planted, not do ye eat. Now therefore fear the Lord.
Now
and
therefore
serve him.
fear God. You cannot fulfill the commandments of God without fear. We need to fear God first. Be afraid of God. Be afraid to offend God. Be afraid to offend. You'll see there's a commandment. It says fear God and also fear your parents. God has commanded us to have a certain, to fear him and fear our mother and our father. Now when I say to fear your mother and your father, it means be afraid to offend them. Be afraid to offend them. Be afraid to offend God. Tom Sheet.
Serve him in sincerity.
Serve him in sincerity. Do we serve God in sincerity? Are we truly sincere when we are serving God?
Don't really mean it.
Because if we were sincere in serving God, then we won't shift back and forth with God. We won't fluctuate back and forth with God. We won't go in and out when we're dealing with God, which means we ain't sincere, right? Be sincere in your actions. Be sincere in your character. Be sincere in the things that you voiced out of your mouth and what you said. So if you are serving God, be truthful. Be truthfully. You will begin to accept and believe. Okay? Tom Sheet.
And serve him in sincerity and in truth.
Serve him in sincerity and in truth.
And put away the gods which your fathers served.
And put away who?
The gods.
Put away the who?
The gods.
The gods
which your
fathers have served.
On the other side of the flood.
Right? To put away these idols, you have to have interest in God so you can start putting effort in serving him. So what is effort? What I mean by effort? Effort is a determined attempt of how much work you put into. How much work you put into serving God, into doing these laws, fulfilling these commandments and statutes. Well, I read.
And put away the gods which your fathers served on the other side of the flood, and in Egypt, and serve ye the Lord. And if it seem evil unto you,
to
serve the Lord,
to serve God,
choose you this day.
Choose. I cannot get angry at people's choices. Why do we continue to be angry at choices that people make?
Don't get mad about.
And then when they have made their choice, you got so much to talk about what that person chose to do. God ain't angry at your choice. What makes you think, why are you angry? God gave us all a choice.
Right.
Why do you think Adam and Eve? God even gave Adam and Eve a choice.
Choose
He
life.
commanded them. I said he gave them a strict command.
Yeah.
He said, of every tree in the garden thou mayest freely eat. He said, but that tree that's in the midst of the garden, he said, don't eat from it. And the day that you eat from it, thou shalt surely die. And he left them.
Yeah.
Left them to themselves. To see what was they gonna choose. And God allowed the serpent to go to Eve to see her choice. I could have stopped her. God could have stopped it and got in the middle. But God want to see if you can do these laws according to what you choose. And that's the only thing that God will accept is choices. Our choices. What are the choices that we chose? Did we choose to do this? What are your decision making? What do you decide?
What did you make up your mind on?
No one's forcing you. No one's making you do this. You're here because you want to be here. Tom, go ahead.
And if it seem evil unto you to serve the Lord.
If it seem evil unto you to do these laws, right? I said, if it seems evil unto you to do these laws, listen here. The time that back in the Adam and Eve, that was supposed to happen. You remember what God said before the earth was created? What he had in thought?
Israel.
The nation of Israel. He said before the earth was created. Before he set the boundaries of the water, of the sea. Before he did all these creations, he had in mind Israel in mind. Tom, see?
Choose you this day whom you will serve.
Choose you this day who you will serve.
Pick your mind up.
Right? The brother said a good point. Life is a test.
Oh, yeah.
The only time, you know when the test stops? When you die.
This is trial and error.
You're going to continuously go through trial and error before God.
Don't stop.
So that to prove yourself and to show what you chose. To prove yourself before God. So God is going to put you through trial and error.
Because he ain't going to elevate you if you don't pass.
That's right.
This. You got to pass that.
You got to pass first for God to elevate you.
Whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land ye dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord.
What verse you at?
I'm at 16 now.
Go ahead.
And the people answered and said, God forbid that we should forsake the Lord to serve other gods. But the Lord our God, he it is that brought us up and our fathers out of the land of Egypt.
You know what that is? He said, God forbid that we should serve God. He said, because of what God did for me, I am obligated to serve him and fulfill these commandments, which means we owe God. We always got to revert back to what God did for you.
That is somebody easier.
You always got to remember the things that God did for you and put it in your mind that you owe God. And when you put those things in your mind that you owe God, you're going to be always trying to push up to fulfill these laws, commandments, and statutes, because this is the only way you can repay them. Tom, see?
But the Lord thy God, he it is that brought us up and our fathers out of the land of Egypt, from the house of bondage, and which did those great signs in our sight, and preserved us in all the way wherein we went, and among all the people through whom we passed. And the Lord drave out from before us all the people, even the Amorites, which dwelt in the land, Therefore will we also serve the Lord, for he is our God. Joshua said unto the people, ye cannot serve the Lord.
Joshua looked around and looked and said, man, he said, listen, man, y'all can't serve God, man. He said, y'all cannot serve God. He's seen it. You know what it says for serve? It said cannot, right? Law, tuklu, right? It means, the root word is yakal. It means you are not able to serve God. You cannot overcome. You will not be able. You're not able. Not everybody is able to succeed in serving God.
You gotta overcome.
Because you gotta overcome the evil that's within you. That's what we gotta overcome. We have to overcome the evil that we have in us. See, the grain of evil seed was sown in us. Was sown in us from the beginning. And as time go on and move on and move on and move on, the evil that's in us gets stronger. And it's stronger, and it gets strengthened, and it gets stronger, and it's stronger. But the only one that can stop that from increasing and metastasizing and getting stronger is you.
I have the power.
So we strengthen the evil that's in us when we sin presumptuously. When we give in.
That's right.
Well, he is a holy God.
He is a holy God.
He is a jealous God.
He is a jealous God.
He will not forgive your transgressions nor your sin.
Say he's a holy God. And that's why God gave us holy laws to separate us from the people we lived amongst. We live amongst because he's holy. So if you are my people, then my people got to be holy also.
That's right.
So there's a certain dress wear that comes with being holy, that comes with being God's people. There's a certain custom that comes with being God's people. There's a certain mannerism that comes with God's people. These are things, there's a certain feeling, a certain way of thinking that comes with God, comes with you being God's people.
There's certain riots.
You can't be God's people moving on your own or doing things on your own, contradicting and doing things opposite of what the laws and the commandments says in the book.
That's right, brother.
How can you call yourself God's people? And I just saw you in the barber shop getting a Caesar. How can you call yourself God's people and I caught you in Western beef, buying meat that died of itself,
Right next to the
or was torn with beasts,
and
it's sitting next to the pig knuckle?
Sitting right next.
How? How can we call ourselves God's people when we go against the very same laws, commandments, and statutes God told us to take heed to? Can't call yourself God's people.
Talk about it, brother. Say it again. Say it again.
In the book it says, "Lo, I me." Not my people.
Right.
You know who said that? God said that.
That's right.
In the time of Hosea, God went to Hosea. He said, "Man, lo, I me. It's not my people, man."
Go marry a whore.
Look at the son. He said, "You ever had a father look at you and say, man, you can't be my son. You're not my son."
Not mine.
Well, the father said that in his wrath, being angry. He said, "Man, you're not my son, man.
You're
Moving
not
like that.
like you, my son.
You're not acting like you my son."
You're supposed to be acting like me.
Huh?
You're supposed to look like me.
And then next thing the father looked, and he said, call the mother. He said, "Hey, come get your son, woman.
Your son.
Hey, lady. Hey, woman, come get your son. Yeah, that's your son." Next thing my mother looks, she crack up. My mother start cracking up. She said, "Well, who father he is?" She said, "Well, huh?" I forgot the exact word, but she said. She said, "Well, listen, that's your son too." My father turned around and looked at her. He said, "Well, they must have switched them. They must have done a switcheroo or something."
And he's not acting like my son.
All you doing is sitting down quiet, not saying nothing. You can't say nothing.
You better be quiet.
Better be quiet.
Just shut your mouth.
Let the parent
Let
exchange.
the parental exchange go
Let the parental exchanges. The next thing after all the exchanging, the anger has been pacified.
It will have mercy on you.
Go ahead and read.
If you forsake the Lord and serve strange gods, then he will turn and do you hurt and consume you.
If you forsake the Lord, huh? Go ahead.
And serve strange gods.
If you abandon God, huh? First, let's get into the definition of forgive. All right? When we forgive, it means to cease to feel resentment from the offender. Huh? What is resentment? Persistent ill will at something regarded as wrong, not by you, but by what God looks at as being wrong.
Persistent.
If I forgive you, I'm not going to continue to feel that persistent ill will about that. I'm not going to talk about it. So how do you forgive someone but still feel a way about the situation?
Right.
You ain't forgiving.
You
just talking.
really didn't forgive.
You really ain't forgive.
Inside, you didn't forgive.
Tom Sheet.
If you forsake the Lord and serve strange
To
gods.
forsake means to abandon. To forsake also means to renounce. To renounce, to formally declare what you reject. Notice how we always like to speak and talk about what we agree with and what we disagree with, and I don't think that's right. And they're talking about the book.
Yeah.
But God agrees with it. So when you are able and you have the courage to speak against what the book says in this book, you don't believe God. You truly don't believe the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the eternal one. You have to go find your lane. You need to leave. And find your God. Because the God of Israel is not your God.
That's right. That's right.
It's not your God.
That's right.
You know what I've been looking for? Because not everything you're going to agree with, but still acknowledge it. You know what?
Acknowledge that it's true.
I acknowledge.
I need to. Yeah.
I acknowledge that
This is
what God says
correct.
and what I read here is the right thing. I just need to correct myself and train myself to get back on track to believe what God said. That I will.
I gotta learn to love.
I love that. That's better than just rejecting and disagreeing. You leave room to be corrected and be better. Come see.
If you forsake the Lord and serve strange gods, then he will turn and do you hurt and consume you. And with that, he hath done you good. The people said unto Joshua, Nay, but we will serve the Lord. Joshua said unto the people, you are witnesses against yourselves.
You are witnesses against yourself. You said out your own mouth. Read.
That he had chosen
you the Lord
to serve him.
To serve him.
And they said,
we
are witnesses.
We are witnesses.
Now therefore put away, said
he,
the strange gods which are among you. Incline your heart to the Lord God of Israel.
You cannot incline and turn to God with strange gods. Now, I don't have the strange gods, but I got the strange God in me.
It's in you.
It's in me.
Follow the ways.
It's a part of me. I have not let go of my past. I ain't let go of the man on the cross yet. Even though I'm sitting down and teaching, but I haven't let go of the guy on the cross.
Jesus Christ.
I haven't let go of the guy on the cross yet. That's why when I told you to curse him, you scared to curse him. When I tell you to curse the Jacob, curse that dude on the cross, you scared. Because you truly believe that Jake the Snake is God.
Yeah.
Jake the Snake.
He's no God. He is nothing.
Daniel
He never existed. You know who was the first JC? The first JC. No, not Nimrod. Let me tell you who Nimrod was. The baby that Nimrod had was Semiramis, which was Tom Tammuz. That was the God child. That was the JESUS. Because Nimrod resurrected into the sun. And Semiramis was immaculately conceived through the sun rays, which was, that's why all religion stems from sun worship, moon worship. Because when Nimrod gathered all these people at the Tower of Babel, and God saw the things that they was doing, he confused their language to where one can't understand the other. So now, because I can't understand you, I have to stop building, and everybody migrated into their own regions. That's why Indians, Europeans, all these countries and nations and religions all stems from sun worship. All stems from sun worship. And with that, I hope everybody has gotten what was bought. And I'm going to say, Shevuot Shalom. We have, before I cut off, do we have any questions? Any questions? Any questions? You don't have any questions, we're going to cut off.
and we're going to jam and enjoy this festival occasion.
Come on, bro.